We'll be live!
Hello!
Hi, everyone. I miss doing streams with Susie.
I know, me too.
Yes, it's good to have you here. But do you watch my streams with Secular Rarity? Do you watch
Yes,
them?
I do. You guys crack me up. You have a good dynamic, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. Yeah, I'm actually having a lot more fun than I thought, with, on the show, Secular Rarity. So this is pretty good. But yeah.
Well, the
Um,
way you said that it makes it sound negative. You're just like, no, you were used to having things with me, and you didn't, it's hard to not have that anymore. You didn't know what to expect.
I didn't know what to expect, but it's pretty good.
But you're enjoying it so much.
I
want to make sure he feels appreciated.
So, guys, we're going to be covering the news. Today is like less depressing than last week. Last week was horrible. What are you doing to us?
I've been better, I think.
Okay.
I think.
This week is better. So, yeah, it's going to be about religion-related and politics-related things around the world, mostly religion-related. And, yeah, guys, let us know where you're watching. We enjoy that. If you're watching from Philippines, Indonesia, Egypt, Korea. Last time we had some people from Hong Kong, India, Pakistan, United States, Canada, anywhere. Let us know in the live chat. I like to highlight when people say where they're watching from. I like to highlight them. Soha is confirming that the audio is great. Thank you so much, Soha. And oh yeah, wait, hold on. Somebody's telling. Okay, cool. And anything else you want to add? Like, what countries are we covering today?
We have, of course, big updates in Iran that we'll be doing first. We have India, Israel and Palestine, some news from the US, some more news from Nigeria, and yeah, those are the main ones.
All right, look. We got watching from the Philippines, from the UK, another one from the Philippines, and then somebody from France. Hi from Poland. Okay. Hi from Secular Proton from Switzerland. Matthew from United States. AG from Australia. Bara from Nigeria. Canada. Cool. This is great. See, we're very international. Very international. I like it. We got 2 from Philippines this time. All right. Can we clap for the first news? I think this is ridiculous.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
This is pretty funny.
This is pretty funny. Okay, we're starting with funny, guys. This week. Okay. First news.
There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in Iran right now, but I had to talk about this ridiculous, hilarious news. Okay. So, Iranian hardliners blame pornography and sexual frustration for mass protests. Recently, pro-regime supporters in Iran blamed sexual agitation, computer games, and remote learning for the ongoing protests. This is an unusual addition to the standard conspiracy that social unrest is caused by Western and Israeli backing, a belief frequently pushed by Ayatollah Khamenei and his lackeys. Ali Akbar Raifipur, head of the Masaf Institute and a leading perpetuator of this venereal misinformation, stated that teenagers who were at home and couldn't go anywhere during the pandemic became sexually aroused by the internet. And now the mass uprising seen throughout the nation is an expression of their sexual repression. Raifipur added that the street protests are the result of, quote, discharging of sexual urges onto the issue of women. Raifipur, along with other pro-regime political figures, is dismissing the protests as a sexually driven violent campaign inspired by Western media. A former Iranian parliament member, Hamid Raisi, said that the women protest because they want to, quote, sleep with someone each night and behave like animals. Mohammed Sadegh Kushaki, a professor at Imam Sadiq University and a Khamenei loyalist, said, quote, some of these young people and teenagers who are seriously harmed by a lack of identity and values were at the core of the recent social unrest.
This guy has started a shitstorm with this comment. You have no idea how big this was, like, because
Oh, really?
he added so much fuel to the fire. Like, if you want to demonstrate how the people who are pro-regime are out of touch, like, it's one thing, like, so people are saying that we have to protest because there's no one listening to us. There's all avenues of change or talking to anybody that will respond to anything that we want is completely closed, right? And the regime always pretends like, no, we take you seriously, we take complaints seriously, come talk to us. These people who are in the streets, they are just like, they're mobs, they're rioting and breaking things. People who actually genuinely want change, they come. And we understand people have frustrations. We're not out of touch. We come and listen, and we know there are problems, and we fix things when we accept that we are not perfect and blah, 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 right? So if you wanted a symbol and a representation of where the young people are at with their complaints, okay, and where the pro-regime people are at with what they think this is about, you could not have a better way to demonstrate it. This is why even some pro-regime people came down on this guy. They're like, you are making us look so bad. Shut the hell up. It was really bad, right? Because, like, it's such an insult. It's such an insult. First of all, a lot of it, let me actually show you a picture of what the pro-regime people have drawn to say what this protests are about. Because the pro-regime people think that this is the women who seemingly are leading these protests are actually been put there by men who want degeneracy and
That's right.
women, like, because they see women taking off their hijab as women going naked. To their eyes, this is like naked and degeneracy, right? And they're saying these are a lot of young people who want degeneracy and sexual liberation, and they're going to come after our daughters, they're going to come after our sisters, and maybe even after our wives, right? So, and this is what they want, right? And they look at the song by Shervin, which has now become the song of the revolution, which Baraye, which is what this revolution is for, which was part of it says, for my sister, for your sister, for our sisters. And then also the part that says, for being able to kiss without fear in the street, right? And they were like, oh, so
they're coming for your sisters.
They're coming for our sisters. This is what this is about. They want to kiss my sister.
God.
Like that, like, Susie, I was on the Persian show, and we had a pro-regime guy come on the show, and he was like telling us this, so like, oh, so would you bring your sister to me for me to kiss? Like, is that what you want? And people are like, because they don't understand that, because, you know, if you say for our sisters, they think like, I will take my sister and give it to you for you to do whatever you want. But because they don't understand consent, some of these people, they think like
that's
I could just
crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, would you give your sister to me? And I'm like, does she like you? She can kiss you. I don't care.
They don't even understand how liberalism works. They think like our version of liberalism is like, come have sex with my sister. They don't understand that our version of liberalism is that she decides. Not like freedom doesn't mean that I will force my sister to be for you to be free with my sister. Like, no, like, I mean,
what?
So
did you laugh in his face?
Yeah. No, but let me show you what their understanding of this revolution is. This is the cartoon that they came up with, right? They think this is what it's about. Like, oh, because there was another pro-regime guy that made a huge backlash, but he said that today they're coming for your hijab, tomorrow they come for your underwear, right? Because he says, what makes you think that people who want to take off your hijab would stop at hijab? Okay, it's like there's no, once you let go of your hijab, tomorrow they will take off your shirt and they will not stop until they take off everything. They take off your underwear, right? That's literally what he said. And people are like, Iran is literally one of only 2 countries in the world that has mandatory hijab. Okay, it's only Iran and Afghanistan, and no other even Islamic country has mandatory hijab. Okay, let alone, and people are not going naked there. That's what he's talking about, right? But this is they think that the men are pushing the girls to take off their hijab because they want to see a society where they could do something like this. That's what they.
That's why they frame all the women who are fighting in this uprising as prostitutes, because it's a way of saying like you're basically being pimped out by men for their own benefit. And I read this really interesting article in Iran Wire about how historically accusations of sexual degeneracy has been one of the main points of trying to delegitimize oppositional movements, to the point that they accused like MEK, for those who don't know, it's an opposition group. It's a group that opposes the Iranian regime, but it's also like a literal terrorist cult. They would accuse MEK of sexual degeneracy, and they sleep around and they like, you know, force the members to sleep with all the men and all this stuff. Meanwhile, they literally had segregated, like they're in an Islamic group still. So they had segregated housing for everything. And they even executed one of their members for a completely consensual sexual relationship with another female member. You know, so clearly their standards of what is sexual degeneracy is pretty different in comparison to like what ours would, you know, like, but this is a very frequently used accusation. But compared to, well, actually, I want to talk about that in a second. I really want to read the full quote from Raifi Poor, because there's part of this quote, Armin, that had me going, what? Okay, wait a second. Here's the full quote. Quote, during 2 years of COVID, teenagers sat at home and couldn't go anywhere. Then they were sexually aroused by the internet. Now, what is happening in the streets? It is the discharging of sexual urges onto the issue of women. What is happening is that these 2 factors have met. This, Armin, this made me go, bruh, what? Okay. He continues. The generation of war, meaning the Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s, the generation of war fired RPGs to discharge these urges. Now, where can our young people discharge them? That's why we have these strange fire jumping festivals. Okay, so there's so much to unpack there. One, I'm like, you discharge RPGs to get rid of your sexual repression? Bro, what? Second of all, fire jumping festivities. Like, why do you have to shit on Nowruz? Like, why do you have to shit on the Nowruz celebration?
Oh, no, that's Charshamba Suri. It's a different celebration.
No, but that comes right before Nowruz, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's the Wednesday before, so it's part of the overall celebration. Okay. That's what I'm saying. But I'm like, that's why we have these strange festivals. I'm like, this is something that's been in Iranian culture for thousands of years. Why are you acting like this is suddenly a new thing?
he thinks young boys are too sexually excited, right? And they need to express that somewhere, right? And when Iran had war, that's how I expressed it in war, right? Now that there's no war, and he thinks that part of the problem is that we're not marrying boys and girls young enough. Like the age of marriage is getting older and older, and so there's a lot of sexual frustration, pent-up sexual frustration that is not being released. So he thinks that it's being, and there's also a lot of porn on websites and stuff, and they're watching it, and he thinks now all of that is expressing itself in the form of protests in the streets. That's what he thinks. And one of the interview is like, if you watch it in Persian, he's like, look, they're talking, their main chant has women in it. So obviously it's it's about sexual. Like they say women in their chant. So it's like, you know, it's about women. So it is about sex, therefore. Like, I mean, only like it's just so
What?
weird. And like, no, like he's like, okay, so this is how he says it, right? So it's about sexual tension. Like, look at the chant. It says, it's this woman, life, freedom. So women is their main theme. So this is about sexual frustration. So just because they say woman, so it's weird because it frustrates a lot of people listening to this because they're like, we're talking about women's rights, and how sick do you have to be to turn the chant about women's rights like, oh, you guys are talking about women, you must be sexually frustrated. Like, no, you only as
Literally, though. Only
must be
someone that's hypersexualized.
yeah,
that
only a person that is so sexually frustrated thinks that any man who talks about women must be wanting to sexually, I don't know, sexually frustrated. That's the way they're talking about women. So it must, like, you're projecting. Like, this is like, I don't know. This is
it's so interesting
self-report.
though, because there's this like contention where, especially like deeply conservative religions are supposed to be against sex in all of these fashions, and so they construct all of these practices surrounding the prevention and control of sexuality, and it usually comes in the form of how women should be treated and also expectations around dress and modesty. But when it's so overemphasized, ironically, it's actually hypersexualizing. Like, a fixation on modesty actually is itself hypersexuality. When the showing of a wrist or a showing of an ankle is now sexual, is now seen as licentious. Like, no, you're the one who is hypersexualized. Most people don't see someone's elbow and start to think about how they look naked. What?
Yeah, or people who refer to somebody without a hijab, without a head covering, as naked. Okay? That's what they say. That when they see somebody without a head cover, like fully covered everywhere else, without a head cover, they call them naked. So who's sexually frustrated? But I have a tweet that I want to show you. It's in Persian. Let me know when I can show you, because it basically summarizes everything that we're talking about.
Go for it.
Okay, so this tweet is in Persian. And so let me give you the context. There was a video that came out that showed the police, men in the street. They were arresting this girl who was a protester, and they kind of sexually molested her, right? They grabbed her ass, right? And she ran away, but she was like surrounded by a lot of men. And that video got viral because people were like really angry about this, right? Because the regime that says like, oh, we have protected you from ISIS coming after your woman, you're like, okay, you're the ISIS here. Like, you are the one that we have to protect your woman from. And they say
the sex segregation is for the sake of protecting women and their safety.
Yeah, so like you're the one arresting.
Their special forces sexually assault women.
Yes, exactly, right? So that video went viral, and this tweet up here is by a pro-regime guy who says, like, basically the summary is like, why are you guys upset? Why are you guys upset? You guys want a sexual liberation, right? Like, he says,
what?
Like, yeah, he's like, you guys keep pretending that you want sexual liberation, so why are you upset about this video? You guys are hypocrites.
What?
Yeah, like, like he says the same people who wanted kisses and dancing in the street and free hugs are now somehow upset when they see a woman being, sexually touched or something, right? So this is like how he's wondering, how is this consistent? You guys want dancing and freedom in the streets and being able to kiss and free hugs. Like, there was videos of a girl giving free hugs.
Yeah, it was
right?
super cute.
And that was super cute. Like, you guys want all of that, so this is the same thing, right? So the interesting thing is that the burn comes from a religious woman. So the reply is from somebody who is also religious, but she is like, like, listen what she says. She says, a person that has never experienced consensual love or has been kissed consensually or has been hugged consensually, of course would not understand the difference between these two, between consensual and non-consensual love, right? So he's telling that the lady, oh, they're both ladies actually. So this lady, this religious lady, is telling that religious lady that you must have not been consensually ever kissed or hugged to not know the difference. But anyways, it was a sick burn, and also another sign for a lot of Iranians that they have religious people who sympathize with us liberals. Like she's religious, she's Chaduri and everything, but she understands what we want. We don't want full like degeneracy and like all sorts of sexual behavior, including non-consensual ones, right?
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, but this gave a lot of people hope. So there are some religious people in Iran who understand that we have moral standards. Just because we want freedom, that doesn't mean that everything sexual like goes. Anyways, so
Yeah. Well,
I
that
just
must
want to
be okay. So here's the thing that one of our good friends, Maryam Namazi, has been whipping up a lot of controversy along with other feminine protesters for doing topless protest in opposition to the regime. And there were videos of Maryam Namazi doing topless protests that were aired on Iranian state TV.
wow.
First of all, what? Okay. Second of all, so basically she and another woman, her name is Nilufar. I can't remember her last name, but Nilufar is one of the original Girls of Revolution Street. So like she was doing this, she was taking off her hijab in public way, way, way before it is destigmatized to the way it is now. And she is now a refugee living abroad. And she was at a protest for Iranian freedom, and she was doing topless protest. And she started to get viciously attacked, not only by regime supporters, but by the opposition. And basically, because these things were aired on state TV and the state propaganda apparatus held this up as an example of, yes, look, these women do just want to get naked in the street. Look, it's not about hijab. They do want to be naked in public, which is not really what topless protest is about. And so Maryam Namazi, in response, love her, came down and like doubled, tripled down. She's now doing like 5 times as many topless protests in support of Nilufar. But Armin, what do you think about that?
Wait,
do you hear about that whole controversy? Because that really blew up.
So that the original girl that went full naked, and Iranian TV
she didn't go full naked. She was just topless.
Topless. Okay. Well, I didn't see I just saw half of it because they weren't showing. So the Iranian TV really, really use that as propaganda. Be like, we told you. It's not just about hijab. They want to go full naked. So protect the hijab, because if we don't protect the hijab, they're gonna make your daughters and sisters go full naked. Look what they're doing right now already. Okay. So by the way, just to be clear, that was in London. The Iranian protests in London in support of Iranians in Iran. Right?
There's been multiple topless protests around Europe.
Yeah, but no, the original one, I think that one was in London.
No, Nilufar isn't in England. She's somewhere else, maybe Amsterdam.
Amsterdam? Okay.
Maybe.
So, and a lot of anti-regime protesters actually started criticizing her as well. Like, why are you doing this? You're giving the Islamic Republic of Iran the propaganda that it needs. So a lot of people, our side started. So she was getting attacked from everywhere, right? So I felt bad for her, right? But a lot of people like, this is not the time for you to go topless, because the regime wants to scare. Because right now the protests in Iran, there's anti-religious people, non-religious people, and religious people joining together against the regime, right? So a lot of people are saying we're getting a unity with traditionalists and religious people against the regime. If you go topless in Amsterdam or London or wherever, the regime is going to show the religious people like, don't support them. They want to go fully naked. Look at that, right? So they're like, this is not the right time for you to do this. Okay, I'm not going to tell you whether it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what other anti-regime people or protesters are saying. But so did you see the footage that Iranian TV had of this, of Maryam and Niloufer? Did you
I
see the
did.
footage? Did did they show? They didn't show the breast, did they?
Okay, what was forwarded to me, what I saw was it was like weird. It was very strangely
It was a
manipulated.
red cover.
Exactly. There was
Yeah.
weird editing where you could
So they,
see, but you could still see outlines of naked
yeah, you
breasts.
can see the outline of the body, but like they didn't like pixelate it, but they just put like a weird red covering on it, right?
Yeah.
But this is unprecedented.
I was
for
like,
Iranian
how the
TV.
fuck are they showing this on state TV? Did they not just make everyone who see this sin?
Yes, this is like, it shows how much they go against their own value when it comes to, because their values, they've never shown something like that on Iranian TV, on state TV. Like it has never happened. Like they are very, very selective over. And let me show you how selective they are. And a lot of people call them out for as hypocrites. They're like, you break your own rules when it comes to spreading your propaganda. And let me show you how strict their
Clearly,
rules
we
are.
know this.
This is how strict their rules are.
Yes.
They blurred wolves' tits. Okay? This is
I remember this.
This is an Italian football badge from Rome, and the badge has a mother wolf. You know, this is a myth in how Rome came about.
Yeah.
These are the two founders of Rome who were fed by wolves, and you can see that this mother wolf, the Iranian state TV pixelated the tits of a wolf. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know, because the whole philosophy behind pixelating things is because people could get aroused. I don't know who in Iran would get aroused by wolf tits.
We recently, a few months ago, covered a story where they're censoring the udders on cows.
Yes.
They're censoring cow udders in cartoons.
Yeah, wait, yeah.
It's so crazy. I'm like,
it was a ad for an ice cream. It wasn't even a real cow.
Yes.
It was a cartoon cow, and the others were censored. But this is what they censor. But they showed that woman. So again, a state TV that censors this showed a naked woman on state TV. So the hypocrisy was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
what do you think of the topless protest?
I want to read this comment.
Laura saying, a cartoon wolf? They sexualize a cartoon wolf?
I'm like,
yes.
Yes. Honestly, I don't. It's weird to go tell a woman to cover up in Amsterdam. That's what I think. Okay. It's also, I understand where they're coming from. The people in Iran, they're like, guys, this is not the right time. We need to be united, and we're going to lose the religious anti-regime people. I understand their fear. Okay. But I'm not going to go tell somebody, a woman in Amsterdam, to cover up. Okay. You could go do that, because I'm not going to do that. Like, this is Amsterdam.
Let alone one of the original Girls of Revolution Street that risked everything to lay the precedent that it is literally off of her shoulders that what is occurring now is even a possibility to happen. You know, there's like, Mariam put out a really good video about the like reasons behind topless protests that I really liked. And so I sent Niloufer a really supportive message because I know she's getting it from all angles right now. But Armin, I think we should talk about some general Iran updates if you're ready.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so there's so much that has happened in this past week. Like, I don't even know where to start. I think one thing that is really important to touch on is, one, the internet restrictions. They're going in and out, but they've gotten a lot more severe. So the ability to understand what's happening is severely restricted. So one of the biggest things that started to happen is the death count now is at least 200. I think I've seen some estimates that are more like 225, and even that is likely a severe underestimate. 23 children have been killed, and 20 of them are boys, one of them as young as 11 years old, and 3 of them are girls. One girl, her name is, I know the translation of it is star. How do you say star in Persian?
Satare.
Satare. This is so sad. Her family literally came to Iran to escape the violence in Afghanistan. And then she ended up being murdered in Iran. So the violence against children is getting very severe. There was a situation in this one province that the name I cannot pronounce. I don't know. It starts with an A. And they tried to bring a bunch of girls from a girls' school to a different area where they were basically going to force them to participate in a video for state propaganda, to show, because we've seen unprecedented protests from students. It was like university, then it was high school, then it was like middle school, and then we see elementary school students. Okay. So they were bringing these young girls to a different location to try to make some propaganda with them. And the girls started protesting and yelling back and not complying. At which point, the security forces brutalized these girls. Like 10 of the girls literally had to go to the hospital, and one of them died of internal bleeding. And now they're making up all of these stories about how she actually died and all this stuff, saying that she had heart problems or brain problems or something or other. But people have found social media posts associated with the family that show that she was like a star swimmer, like an athlete within the past few years, like very active. So they're continuing to just like openly murder children. They cannot figure out a way to compensate from the fact that a lot of their protesting population is coming in the forms of children, and they cannot seem to come up with an appropriate containment strategy for that. Another problem is that the girls that they arrest in many areas, this is what the regime calls it, openly calls it. They take the ones that they arrest and bring them to psychology centers, like psychiatric re-education centers. And this is what they themselves identify it as. There's been other state officials that have come out and said themselves that the average age of the protesters is 15. This is coming from within the state. They're saying that. On top of all this, we're seeing a severe crackdown in Kurdistan, which is Masa Amini's home region, and particularly in the province capital of Sanandaj. Now, there is still, because of the internet restrictions, no clear picture of what is going on in Sanandaj. The reports on the ground are that it is like a war zone. The videos are crazy. You hear open gunfire all the time, just bursting into residential homes to try to arrest people. And there really is no accurate picture of what's going on there. I have read some reporting that in Sanandaj or Kurdistan in general, it is possibly the first time that we have seen actually military mobilization. Because mostly we're seeing these highly ideological units deployed around different cities and different provinces. But that's a really finite resource for the regime. What is a much larger resource for them is the IRGC. And so there have been some reports of actually IRGC mobilization in parts of Kurdistan. There was even some reports of mobilization along the border, as if they were going to take action into Iraqi Kurdistan. So again, I'm still really trying to figure out what the hell is going on in Sanandaj because information is scarce. And then what has happened within the past 24 hours is freaking crazy. Okay, so this is what D is saying. D is saying, what happened at the prison? I saw a huge fire reported. Whew. Okay, so less than 24 hours ago, reports started to emerge of a fire at Evin prison. For those who don't know, Evin prison is in Tehran. It is commonly called Evin University because it is where the intellectuals, the political prisoners, are imprisoned in such high amounts that people say that, like, oh, you should go to university there. This is also where they imprison diplomatic hostages. It's where they imprison dual nationals and foreign nationals for them to then use as bargaining chips on the international stage. And so it's also notoriously overcrowded, especially considering that so many detainees that have occurred through this like 5 weeks of uprising are now also getting concentrated there. And so, as you can see in this video, like massive fires have broken out. There's no clear picture about what's happening. And yeah, like gunshots, sirens. But Armin, did you see the videos of what appear to be explosive projectiles being fired upon the prison?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's crazy. There are videos where you can see 2 projectiles. I have no idea what it is. 2 projectiles clearly being fired upon the prison, followed by huge explosions. On the ground, they're reporting that the explosions were so bold that they would shatter the windows of all the houses in close range.
Oh, look. Here, look, the projectiles. You
Yeah.
see that?
Yep, there it goes. And in response, to me, this like really shows the character of a lot of Iranian people. What happened when word of this started to come out? People started driving towards the prison. They started driving towards the gunshots, towards the explosions, to try to intervene, to try to disrupt authorities, to try to check on their family, because there's no word that's coming out about what's happening. And when the roads were blocked so much that they couldn't drive further, they got out of their cars and started walking. Then security forces were firing upon people or trying to disrupt people who were trying to reach the prison. So they were just facing them with only rocks, firing tear gas upon people, and it like set cars on fire because of the explosives. You know, it's like on a highway and stuff. So we still don't really know what happened. The regime state media says that what happened was that some prisoners got rowdy and set the clothing depot of the prison on fire or something. And I think they said that like no one was killed or anything like that. But really, we have no idea at this point. I woke up and I thought that maybe there would be some more information that's come out. There really isn't anything more that's come out. I mean, what's very interesting is that right before this happened, okay, there are a lot of conspiracies about what's going on with Evin. For example, right before this happened, all of a sudden the internet opened very quickly. And then this happened and it closed. The second main conspiracy that I've heard is that one of the sons of Rafsanjani? Why can't I say it? I know his name. Rafsanjani, of course. Okay, sorry. So no, I can't say it again. Rafsanjani. There we go. He was the former president of Iran who was cough cough assassinated. And he had a son that was a political prisoner in Evin. But his son gets like special privileges and gets to have like furlough basically from prison. So he would go into prison like most of the week, and then like Wednesday through Friday he would be allowed to go in or something. However, his brother was on Clubhouse last night talking about how this week, when his brother went on furlough, he went back to the prison to return himself back in as he's supposed to. And this week they said, no, you stay out. Don't come back. And so people are like, why is he being kept out of the prison? And then this happened.
I don't read too much. I think they're reading too much into that, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. We'll see. I think it's too soon to know what's going on right now. I just know this is a major escalation. It's only like a month after Mahsa Amini's death. And I don't think anybody ever guessed it would, like, some people guess. I just think like it's surprising how fast things are escalating to the point now that Evin prison is on fire. This is like things are rapidly escalating. So there's that. We did get a super. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about the fire at Evin, though? Like, most people are like, there's probably a massacre happening right now.
That would be so stupid. I don't think it's the regime. I know a lot of people are saying it was the regime that did this. This would be shooting themselves in the foot. They are desperate to show things going back to normal and making it look as if things are calm. A fire in prison, in Evin prison, is like signaling to the whole country that things are wacky. This would be a major self-own. Either it's not them or they're just the dumbest people ever. Especially given that the previous revolutions started with a fire. Okay? The 1979 revolution, one of the main two sparks that made that happen was the fire at Cinema Rex. So to start a fire in the middle of this is a huge signal to people that, like, hey, the regime is going to topple again. This is like a lot of people are already comparing the fire in Evin prison to the 1979 fire at Cinema Rex. So
yeah, can you explain what that is for people that don't know?
That's a lot of detail. It was just a fire in a movie theater. A whole bunch of people burned alive, and they blamed it on the Shah, which is stupid. Like, I don't think the Shah would do anything like that. And it just mobilized everybody against the regime until it was toppled, right? So given his lessons from history of how much fires could like lead to people like getting, and how people are desperate to use symbolism from the past to mobilize today, fire doesn't seem like a good idea, right?
What about these like projectiles being fired upon the prison?
I don't know who that is. What the
hell?
Yeah, it might be people trying to free their families or like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Who has access to what?
Oh, they do. There are already videos on how to make stuff like these.
No, something like that in the middle of Tehran?
Yeah.
I mean, I know people are going willy-nilly with Molotov cocktails.
Well, I don't want to. Don't say that. I don't want to say that. Don't say that on YouTube, guys. We do not endorse the making of any of these things anywhere in the world.
I'm just saying that it happened.
That's a trigger word for YouTube. That's a major trigger word for YouTube. Do not use that word. I didn't know that. Yes, that's good. Okay. We are not endorsing any form of violence here on YouTube. Please, we're just reporting the news. Okay. But yeah, so there's that. We don't know. We have to wait. A lot of people are really quick to come up with conclusions. I just don't think right now we can't know any of this, right? Noman is saying, thank you for the super chat, Noman, with the 50 rupee super chat, saying, why are no Indian Muslims talking about this? Well, too, I think there probably are some. There's millions of Indian Muslims. I'm pretty sure there are at least some of them talking about this. Okay, so there's that. Also, I don't know why Indian Muslims are uniquely supposed to talk about this more compared to other people. I don't know why. Do you think because it's an Islamic Republic, do Indian Muslims have a higher responsibility compared to other? I don't think they do. I think in people in general, it would be a good idea to talk about it. I don't think being a Muslim makes you more responsible to talk about this. Do you agree? Oh wait, but please don't butcher my name. How do you pronounce your name? Noman 041. Newman?
Yeah. What? How else would you say it? Yeah, I think a lot of people think that Muslims should be talking about this more because otherwise it shows like hypocrisy or something.
I don't think so. I mean, most Muslims don't think the Islamic Republic of Iran represents Islam anyway, so I don't know
True.
if that's I mean, also Indian Muslims are Sunni. Islamic Republic of Iran is Shia. I just don't think like being a Muslim. I think it's just a general good idea to just talk about this, but no matter what your religion or lack of religion is. Oh no, man. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm being gaslit.
People are saying cut him some slack. He's also 18. I wasn't mean. Was I mean? I wasn't mean to you. I said it very passively and calmly. I wasn't aggressive with them. God damn it. All right. Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
Oh no, this is really sad.
No. Next news.
Next news. LGBT Palestinian beheaded after escaping the West Bank. Ahmad Hacham Hamadi Abu Marghia, a Palestinian gay man who escaped from the West Bank after being outed as gay, moved into an Israeli safe house in the greater Tel Aviv area. He was in the process of getting asylum in a third country, as even Israel isn't safe for many gay Palestinians. On October 5th, 25-year-old Marghia was kidnapped and murdered. His beheaded and dismembered body was seen in horrific videos circulating in Palestinian territories in Jordan. A different house, the safe house where Ahmad took asylum, caters to the Palestinian and Arab Israeli gay community. Rita Petrenko, the CEO of the safe house, who secured Ahmad's permit to live in Israel, said Ahmad was an industrious, intelligent man looking forward to leaving the country. His friends report that they are certain that he was murdered because of his sexuality. Armin, What is your initial reaction?
How did they manage to get him in Israel? Was he at the safe house when they got him?
I'm not exactly sure where he was when he was kidnapped, but he was kidnapped. In my understanding, he was brought... They found his body in Hebron, I think.
Wait, oh my God. That's insane.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people really underestimate like how severe a lot of these attitudes towards the gay community, specifically gay men, how bad it can really get.
By Israeli Muslims, probably, right?
Who killed him?
Yeah.
No. The running theory that I understand from the reports that I read was that he was likely kidnapped by Palestinians.
How? In Israel, Palestinians can't get into Israel. I mean, can they?
No. In terms of like who did this, it's conflicting stories, but it was more like in terms of motivation, it would be presumably.
Okay, there's a weird thing in Israel where some Israeli citizens who are Arab and Muslim, who are Israeli citizen, they refer to themselves as Palestinian, even though they're not Palestinian. So I don't know if when they say. So I don't know if when they say Palestinian here, are they just talking about people who happen to be Muslim in Israel, or are they talking about actual Palestinians? Because
that's unclear.
Yeah. Okay. Because if this is happening by Israeli Muslims, right? Imagine what the attitudes are like. I mean, if this can happen to you in Israel, imagine what could happen to you in Palestine. Do you know if he was from Gaza Strip or the West Bank?
From the West Bank.
West Bank. Imagine how things are in Gaza Strip if this happened to you. Okay, so the tiers are of radicalism is like of Muslims is Israel is the lowest, and then the West Bank is in the middle, and Gaza Strip is like cuckoo land. Right? I mean, this is not just me who says this. This is people in the West Bank says it. I've been to the West Bank. Okay, I've been to Palestine, right? And the people in Palestine, West Bank Palestine, consider the people in Gaza Strip to be cuckoo, like radicals, right? And this guy came from the West Bank. Imagine what it's like to be gay in the Gaza Strip. Anyways, this is crazy. By the way, this is also shows that not all, we blame a lot of the radicalism in these areas to poverty and mistreatment and isolation and economic blockade and all that. And all of that has its effect. But those things don't make you homophobic, okay? Those things make you maybe radically anti-Semitic, right? But given that it's happening to you by a Jewish state, so you could blame a lot of that radicalism on the fact that there's an apartheid and these, and the treatment and the conditions. But no amount, like, people don't just go out and become homophobic because Jews are oppressing them. It just doesn't follow, right? So to me, it shows that, at least it suggests that a lot of the radicalism, as much as you could blame it on the condition, a lot of it is because of Islam, okay? Like, Islam makes you homophobic. Being economic blockades and apartheid doesn't make you homophobic. Last time I checked, other people didn't become more homophobic in South Africa because of apartheid, right? So it's a lot of it is just Islam.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But this story actually made me very curious about these safe houses that they have, like all across Israel, for not only Palestinians, but they also have them for Arab Israelis as well. So I thought that's an amazing project, and I hope that they get a lot more support.
Was he in the safe house when he was kidnapped? Because that's the failure of a safe house.
No, right? He was on his way to work.
Okay.
As D reminded me in the live chat. Thank you, D.
Yeah, what a beautiful project by whoever has, like, Israelis who are building a safe house for LGBT LGBT Palestinians. That's That's a message of peace, like, right there. That's beautiful. I'm so sad that it failed here, but I hope, like, it shows that they need more resources. What's the organization's name? Do we know?
They have a name in Arabic that I cannot pronounce, but the translation is a different house.
Look, so this guy is saying, yesterday a Palestinian man, Ahmed Abu Markhia, was brutally murdered by Palestinians because he was gay. While the media, American politicians, and human rights groups ignored it, a small vigil was held for him last night by those who knew him in Israel. He deserves better. Oh, look, it's in Hebrew too. Oh, the vigil is in Hebrew too. Yeah, there wouldn't be any vigil in Arabic by Palestinians for him. I don't think. The vigil has to be in Hebrew.
What do you think about
betrayed by
him
his
basically
own people?
Saying that, like, left-leaning people in the U.S. would ignore this kind of thing because it's politically inconvenient to their alignment in sentiments towards the Palestinian cause. Like, they turn a blind eye to the cruelty when it comes to this.
I don't know if that's the reason. I think we wouldn't know.
But do you think that's a pattern that you observe? Or do you think that's not a thing?
I need more data points to be able to see a pattern. I haven't, I'm dealing with one data point. So I need to see more to be able to guess that.
I mean, in your anecdotal experience of analyzing these things over the years.
Over the years, this is the first time I'm learning about a Palestinian gay person who died in Israel by other Palestinians. So,
no, I mean, like, because personally, as someone who used to be like a militant leftist, everything was like centrally one-sided when it comes to Palestine, and there was like, I don't even think people know how badly LGBT people are persecuted there. like it's never even discussed. It's never thought about. Like, I don't think people.
Yeah, but you would have to talk about whether the U.S. has to be able to analyze this. Does the U.S. talks about how LGBT people are treated in Kenya?
Why Kenya?
Exactly. Right? Because
No.
okay, so like if you say like in Kenya, for example, LGBT or Uganda, LGBT people don't have it any. They're not treated very well in Uganda, right?
People do talk about Uganda.
Yeah, but you're talking about politicians.
Politicians, no.
Okay, so if you saw like they talk about other places and they don't talk about Palestine, they were like, okay, something fishy is going on here. I'm just saying that's why you need more data points, right? So yeah, they don't talk about it that much, but maybe they don't talk about it in other places either. So yeah, I just have to. There's so many external factors that you have to control for to be able to analyze something like this.
Yeah. And I do understand that like my own experience is definitely like severely anecdotal, and so I like do keep that in mind. I've just been feeling so like angry and disappointed at so many left-leaning people recently. I think because of a lot of the stuff I've been seeing in relation to Iran, it's like making me a little black-pilled. I'm like, I'm just an average liberalism enjoyer, and I have to see all this bullshit.
I don't know. I'm actually pretty optimistic. I think you're looking at a lot of progressives. I look at people like, I don't know, Vosh, for example, right? Which is one of the leading content creators on the left. And he calls out these things, like he just had videos calling out, he notices that in the black community in the United States there's more homophobia, and he says that other leftist people shy away from something like that, but he says it. So I see that as signs of encouragement, like as not as a way to be racist. Obviously, he thinks reason is socioeconomic factors, but at least he acknowledges that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just think like, you know what, you're looking at like leftist like woke leftists, okay, and I just think
not
like
even no.
Yeah. I don't know.
Although
I've seen,
I'm
just
starting
saying
to get too spicy. I gotta stop.
I just think like things have gotten a lot better for the left in the past since like 9/11. You know what I mean? Like things are getting a lot more rational.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
If that's our standard, damn. I love this comment by Adam. One more push for Susie into full-on Shiism.
She's already there. You have no idea. Susie has some hot takes.
I have some hot takes that I've sent Armin recently. Yeah. I need to have a rant about my feelings about the state of progressivism in America soon. Cause
we're losing Susie, guys. Like she's getting red pilled. She's like getting full on. She's on the red pill bandwagon right now. We need to save her. She's becoming a men's rights activist. she's getting close to becoming a men's rights activist. Can I tell them about the stats that you noticed about in Iran about the victims? You were upset about some of the reporting?
I am upset about that. Yeah, I don't even think to just shrug it off and saying that I'm an MRA because of that, I think is unfair.
But I know, but the fact that I didn't notice that. The fact that you
basically
noticed
what Armin is referring to is I got upset over the fact that out of the 23 children that have been killed in the protests in Iran, everyone knows the names, if you follow it closely, of the 3 girls who were killed, who were under the age of 20. But the vast majority of them are boys. 20 of them out of 23 are boys. No one knows their names.
No one remembers their name. They just, when the girls are shot dead or killed, people know their names and remember them.
They investigate the circumstances extremely closely. There's hashtags everywhere. People know their faces.
Yeah,
That's not true for the majority of the people who were killed, including the youngest victim, who was 11 years old. Like, that bothers me.
But it's only, well, it's natural though to be like that.
To be bothered by that?
No. To be more sympathetic to girls being the victim. But our brains might have been designed that way. Your voice might have been designed to be more like, I don't know how to say it. There's a reason why women sound the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it maybe naturally we're designed to be more protective over women than we are over men. Maybe.
Yes. No, there's a lot of biological utility to that.
Okay, so then why are you blaming society for just giving into its biological, desires? Like, I mean, this is just natural for us to feel more sympathy towards men being abused and women being abused than men. It's just part of nature. You can't help it.
I hate that argument. That's not true.
You just said it is. You just said it. You just, yeah.
No, just because it's natural doesn't mean that it's right. That doesn't mean that it's okay.
I know, but I'm not saying it's okay.
Fallacy. There are so many things about our behaviors that are natural that are completely immoral. Behaviors that you completely condemn, and you get frustrated when people say, oh, well, just because you're an atheist, like, why aren't you going and R-wording all these women? Like, that's natural, blah, blah, blah. Like, what?
Okay, I'm not saying it's okay just because it's natural, okay? But it's understandable because it's natural, one, right? It also might be somewhat okay, not just because it's natural, but because the reason why nature makes us more sympathetic towards women is maybe because they need more protection historically.
Yes, well, and also our reproductive capacity is more valuable and scarce.
Exactly. Biologically, women are more valuable than men.
Yes.
Biologically, right? So it makes sense that the entire tribe tries to defend its more valuable asset.
Yeah.
That's so
depersonalizing, though. That's so dehumanizing in many ways.
Wait, what am I saying that is cancel worthy? This is like pretty. Me saying like biologically women are more valuable than men is like cancel worthy.
That's a fact.
It was. Yeah.
That's like literally a resource in nature is the ability to carry a child. It's more scarce. It's more valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Even if it's not okay because it's natural, because that would be the appeal to nature fallacy. I'm just saying it will make us less angry knowing that people are biased that way. You know what I mean? Like it would be more understandable, and if it's more understandable, we would get less angry about it. You seem like you're angry. You seem like
no, I'm just upset. It's because I have a big heart, you know?
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
I see the picture of that little boy who was only 11, and I'm like, why don't we know his name? Why don't people talk about him? I think it's unfair.
It is unfair.
He's a person too.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you upset.
It's okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me see. You guys are crucifying me in the live chat. Maybe I shouldn't share my views. Oh, Susie. She's crying in the background. Okay, let me read this. Harshal saying, instead of saying that our brain is created that way, maybe we should say our brain is evolved that way. Yeah, that's what we mean. Like it's just metaphoric. Remember when in Africa, where's our girls when what was it? Boko Haram kidnapped a whole bunch of girls, right? So there was this global attention about all these girls that went missing, right? However, nobody was asking about what happened to the boys because when Boko Haram went to all these schools, they kidnapped the girls, but but what people were missing, and people were like, "Oh, the girls, the girls, the girl." But the part of the story that everyone was missing is that the girls were kidnapped, and the boys were killed, right? And that for a very long time that never got any attention until somebody came and compared the attention that they got. That the fact that the boys were murdered didn't get any coverage, that much global attention, but the fact that the girls were kidnapped got a lot of coverage. So people are like, it just seemed like the boys were just not that important. Yeah. Anyways, oh yeah, bring back our girls. That was the campaign. Oh yeah, bring back our girls. So sorry. I forgot what the hashtag was. Okay. Sorry, Susie. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Young atheist saying, Susie, please don't cry. We all are sad about those people who killed me. And yeah, no man also gets very. Oh my God, no man is saying, Armin, stop making her cry. What did I do? My God. All right.
No,
Anyways.
Armin didn't make me cry. It's more like, yeah. I just get really frustrated when like the people who actually like do care are demonized and denigrated as if they're shitting on women. It's such a disservice to everyone. It makes me so angry.
I'm getting at least one positive comment here because I thought, yeah, AJ is saying, yeah, no, Armin, never stop giving your views, right or wrong. We shouldn't be in an echo chamber, and it leads to open discussion. Okay, but I'm afraid because I might make Susie cry again. Are you? Yeah, I'm sorry, Susie.
No, you didn't make me cry. It's my own like heart. I physically feel it. I don't know how to describe it.
Like Soha is angry with me too. What the hell? Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh wait, let's read this one to give context. I'm saying last night I watched a video of a 3 to 4-year-old girl who was calling his dead father by moving his pick on the grave. Father got killed in protest. That really broke me. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of videos like that coming out right now. There's a lot of fathers to it. It's not just everybody. It's everybody. All right. Sorry. Let's move on. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's move
on. Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's move on. Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah. 1 second.
Jesus.
This next news is kind of funny. I mean, it's like I don't know. We can clap. It's kind of a karma situation.
Okay. Next
news. ISIS insurgents killed by lions and crocodiles in Mozambique. Recent reports show that wild lions and crocodiles have killed many ISIS insurgents in Mozambique. Bernardino Rafael, the local police chief of the Kisanga district in Cabo Delgado, said that in the fight against the jihadist fighters, locally known as Al-Shabaab, the wild animals contributed to the death toll of the insurgents. Snakes, buffaloes, lions, and crocodiles living in the forest of northern Mozambique may have more experience killing Islamic militants than the pro-government forces currently fighting with ISIS. The regional forest is the hideout for the ISIS insurgents. According to the British think tank International Institute for Strategic Studies, ISIS aims to create an internal power struggle within Mozambique by taking advantage of the socioeconomic problems and ethnic and religious marginalization from the national government in Maputo. So far, almost 1 million people have left their homes in fear of their lives, and more than 4,000 have lost their lives in this insurgency. I don't know. Is it bad that I like this? Or I'm like...
I don't know. If it's bad, can't be bad as well. If it's bad, then I'm evil. Because, okay, Shreya is judging us. Shreya is saying, painful, that's no way someone should die. I mean, these people it reduces misery. And the average misery in the world is being reduced. I mean, if you add their misery...
That's a good point.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a miserable way to die, but it's a net benefit. So, I mean, I will celebrate this. Am I evil? If I'm evil for celebrating this, then consider me evil.
I think people need to have more context. I mean, everyone knows, oh yeah, ISIS bad. But like this group in particular in Mozambique, they will go around and literally behead entire villages. Entire villages. Like hundreds of people. And they're, yeah, a really, really despicable group. So I think it's a little bit of like schadenfreude to be like, yeah, some of these guys getting taken out by lions. Like, thank you, lions and crocodiles and snakes and buffaloes. You're doing us a favor. But there were some people saying that the amount killed by the wildlife might be more than the actual armed forces, which I thought was
what are these lions and crocodiles made of? Actually, here's a comment. Read this one.
Shaiban is saying, are we sure they're not military grade crocs? I want to see some trained military trained crocodiles, okay? Have you ever seen the video of the Russians like training SEALs for the army?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that, but with lions and crocodiles.
Jeez. How does this happen though? Like, are they just like walking alone in the middle of the jungle? Like, how is this like, do just lions just show up at their camps?
I don't know.
How do so many of them get eaten by lions? Do they not have guns with them? Wouldn't lions just run away if you just shoot some bullets in the air?
I don't know. I mean, because they have to live out in the bush. They have to live in the forest, you know, as they're going around raining terror on the local population.
I've seen lions run away just if you clap really loud. Or you just make big noises.
Yeah.
I think it's
what about those crocs?
Lions. I think that, yeah, the crocs, no, the crocs you can't, yeah, you're screwed if you're in the water with those crocs.
Yo, that's so scary. That death roll they do, holy crap.
Actually, I think the thumbnail is not accurate.
It should be a female lion, because the male lions don't hunt.
No, the male lions are pussies.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. No, like seriously, it's the male lions, they're not very much interested in conflict, unless it's with another male lion to prove that they're the head of the tribe, right? But like lions, if you just like, the females are the aggressive ones, the hunters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet you there was the female lions that killed
them. And then I don't know how much the lions and crocodiles were actually going after them, but like worrying about snakes, I would be willing to bet that that's probably a lot of where this is coming from. Snakes, they're so deadly, and they can be a lot.
We want stats. I want stats of ISIS members died by which animal. Okay, we need We need accurate stats. Like ISIS members died by snakes. ISIS
Who
member
comes
died
out
by.
on top? Can
I
we
would bet you
give a
snakes.
commemoratory medal as a representative to one animal from the winning?
We
who
should
killed the
make a
most?
meme. We should make a meme with Biden putting the purple heart on a snake.
Yes, on some lions.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh!
I bet you it's the snakes. I bet you it's the snakes
Yeah.
that are comment number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we need a pie chart. Oh, look at it. Islamic. What is this?
Oh, this is just, some of their propaganda.
Man, ISIS is very active in Africa, eh? People have
Yeah,
forgotten
yeah.
about them, but they're like really active.
Maybe in Africa the most. I don't know statistically, but we have this group in Mozambique. We have ISWAP across the Sahel. I think we have a second one in the Sahel as well. I might be wrong. Then there's obviously ISIS-K in Afghanistan. I think those are the main places right now. Can you think of anything else?
They tried their luck at Philippines. That didn't work that well.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I can imagine how that went. The government does not mess around. They do not mess around. They do not care.
People want the pie charts. People are like,
I know. I need actual statistics. I couldn't find any today. I was like, no, give me the details.
But it's saying, train the freaking beasts. Train the.
Yes.
Oh, these things. The wildlife said no to Islam. Wildlife is allergic to Islam.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, do you think they would be like, hey, isn't Allah supposed to be on our side? Like, they usually get help from nature. Like in the Quran, like usually like it's like doves and spiders and stuff like helps the prophet. So if nature is against you, wouldn't that be a sign that you maybe are on the wrong path? Or maybe no, this is how I would justify it if I was in their camp. They're like, these are some very, very, very hard conditions. More proof that Allah is trying to test us to see if we will quit. That's how. We must be on the right path, because the more difficult your path is, the more you know that you're on the right path. See?
It's very convenient how religion teaches that to people, isn't it?
Yeah. See how I spin that? I would have made a really good preacher.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Should we clap for the next news?
No. This isn't the worst, but this is still
wow.
Bad. Yeah, this is
really, really now. Okay, this is crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
These people are going full on ISIS. All right, I'm not gonna clap.
Literally no. Okay.
Jesus.
Next news. Hindu hate preacher booked for saying that Islamic schools should be blown up. YouTube, I would like to already clarify that I am reporting on the opinions of other people. Okay. We are simply conveying this to our audience with a critical lens. Okay. On September 18th, our favorite Hindu hate preacher, Yati Narsinganand, was booked by the Aligarh police in Uttar Pradesh, India, for calling for the demolition of a Muslim university and local madrasas, or Islamic learning centers. Yati, the Dasna Devi temple priest, has openly called for violence against Muslims in the past. During the recent event, he said madrasas should be blown to bits with gunpowder, and we should practice the policy of China and send the residents of the madrasas to detention camps. He also said that the Aligarh Muslim University should be demolished, quote unquote, using bombs. Yati stated that he is not concerned with the legal consequences of his speech. He was arrested on January 15th for calling for the genocide of Muslims, and again for another inflammatory speech in April while he was on bail for the previous offense. A human rights movement in India, Citizens for Justice and Peace, said that it is, quote, dedicated to finding and bringing light to instances of hate speech so that the bigots propagating these venomous ideas can be unmasked and brought to justice. They approached the National Commission for Minorities last year concerning Narsinganand's bigoted statements when he warned Hindus that if they let Muslim plumbers, electricians, and delivery boys into their homes, they would fall prey to the quote-unquote jihadis.
Wow. This guy is crazy. Well, I mean, if he's not worried about the consequences of legal consequences, just keep him in jail. Why is he still? Last time we reported on this guy, he was calling for genocide. Why is he free again?
They keep on letting him out on bail.
Like, this was even less than a year ago. Like, this was like a few months ago.
Yeah.
You can call out for genocide in India and then just go free. Like
He's
that?
violated the conditions of his bail multiple times. That's my understanding. I'm no lawyer.
And how popular is he?
That's a good question. He seems to have a lot of authority. It's hard for me to tell as someone who's a foreigner because, like, I usually hear about him in the context of outrage and a horrendous thing, and that gets a lot of coverage. So I can't accurately tell you how much of a following he has, but he does seem to be like a big figure who legitimately seems to have some clout, some sway, because he can continue to not, when he's like, oh, I'm not worried about the legal consequences. Yeah, because he doesn't get consequences.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
That's a good point. I don't know if it's connections he has or the political climate, a combination of several factors, who he knows. But yeah, he doesn't face consequences. And he's completely unapologetic. Like, he straight up does not care. And he's one of the largest figures in normalizing this rhetoric. I think that's what's so scary to me, is making this normal. That's terrifying.
Do you think he would get the same treatment if he was a Muslim in India, saying like that the temples should go boom boom?
Come on.
Okay, just asking.
You're not seriously asking me that, right? Of course not.
What do you? Yeah. This is getting really dangerous, and we know like language like this has had an effect on a lot of people. Like we saw a lot of escalation on the rhetoric, and you were like, oh, this could lead to a lot of people doing some crazy stuff, and then people did do a lot of crazy stuff following the rhetoric before in India. Now the rhetoric is picking up in radicalism, so with the trend and the action follow up, you know what I mean? Like, because we had even an expert, a genocide expert, which I didn't know there's such a thing as genocide experts, but we had a genocide expert, and he was like, India is like ripe for genocide. So, because of the rhetoric that is coming out of it, and I'm guessing he was talking about stuff like this, right?
Yeah, well, the hate speech that he gave, that Yati Narsinganand gave in Hardivar at the beginning of this year, was one of the prime examples of that. When that happened, there were like two events that happened basically simultaneously. One was in Hardivar and one was in New Delhi, I believe. And yeah, it was the same rhetoric of, we need to make India a Hindu-only nation and basically do that through whatever means possible, and explicit oaths to take up weapons for the sake of maintaining or establishing India as a Hindu-only nation. Like, I don't think you can get more fascist than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the definition of fascism.
Yeah.
These people, like, there is no definition of fascism that doesn't fit what these guys are wanting.
It's so crazy. And this is like a holy man. This is supposed to be a seer, a priest. Like, it's just mind-blowing to me. I think, what I get the most freaked out about is the normalization of this rhetoric.
Yeah, it's that's why Mein Kampf is the 12th most sold history book in India. So
Is that
I mean,
true?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Mein Kampf is the 12th most sold history book on Amazon in India. I mean, and these people, a lot of them think that they're Aryans, especially the
Yeah.
northern India. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, also they take um they take the worst of uh, the worst countries. Like they look at Germany, they're like as Mein Kampf as a role model. They're looking at China's treatment of Muslims as a role model. Um, this is why they're so buddy buddy with the right leaning part of Israel as well. I mean, they're
Mm,
looking at they're like they want an apartheid state. That's what they like. They're like, can we have some of that here? Can we have like they're like they always sympathize with the worst of every country. Every country, as long as the target the people in that country that is being oppressed as Muslims, they kind of sympathize with them, right? This is why it's sometimes hard to take seriously some of the message of support for Iranians. That some of them that come out of from some of these Hindutva is mostly because it's anti-Islam rather than
hmm.
they caring for people, right?
Oh,
Because if
100%.
yeah, because these are some of them are the same people who are endorsing the treatment mistreatment of Muslims in China. They're like, yes, that's great. Wish we could do that in India, right? So if they say the same kind of people are like sending you like messages of support to Iran, are like, this is just an anti-Islam thing for you. This is not about because you care for people. So yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah.
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 So PK said,
We should practice the policy of China. Only this thing that was recently investigated by the UN as a crime against humanity. Like, no big deal.
yeah.
Is there any awareness? Is there any self-awareness? If people who talk like this or have any sort of affiliation to this, if the group that was being targeted was Indians by racists, or if it was Hindus, targeted by Christians, same rhetoric, just switch the groups, would they see the problem?
I think they don't. They are self-aware. They just don't think it's bad. They're like, yeah, I am cruel against Muslims. So what? They think it's justified. By the way, Sergo is saying, to be honest, I'm all for anti-Islam. I don't see anything wrong with anti-Islam. Yeah, I know I'm anti-Islam. Okay, but I'm just saying it's just anti-Islam because the reason why I'm anti-Islam is because I am for humanity. That's why I'm anti-Islam. Okay, but some people are anti-Islam not because they're for humanity, but because they're against anti-Muslim. So if your anti-Muslim position gets you to anti-Islam, then I don't endorse it. If your for pro-humanity position gets you to be anti-Islam, then I'll endorse it. The reasoning behind why you're anti-Islam matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is against a people. This is
Yes.
not about an ideology. That they sometimes put a little bit of a veneer on it to make it seem like that. But if you go like one step deeper, you barely even have to do that. It's clearly just to establish a fascist state in favor of our like civilizational dogma.
So Shreyesh is saying the same people who take China as role model are racist against Chinese. I'm not kidding. Yeah,
That's
you're right.
true though, because
That's true.
China and India have so much beef right now.
Yeah. They're like, we should do what the Chinese do and also screw them.
Yeah. That's such a good point. I didn't think about that. Oh my god.
All right. Israel is such the main role model for a lot of Indians, Hindu, not Indians, but like these right-leaning ones. Yeah.
Do you think
It's
Israel's
sad.
an apartheid? Do you think Israel's an apartheid state?
Yes. Which is sad because there's a lot of things I love about Israel.
Mhm.
but it's being apartheid state is not one of them.
Yep.
I love you.
Yep.
I love you, Israel, but you be apartheid.
Oh no.
Cut it out, please.
I would say that's a pretty good thing to not love about
The
something.
country.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I love Israel is because it allows a lot of Israelis call out their country for being an apartheid. So that's one thing that you can't do, at least in Iran, right? So if you're an
Yeah.
Israeli citizen and you want to condemn your country and call it out as an apartheid state, you get to do that. So those are one of the things that I love about Israel. That's unique in the Middle East. I know it's a low standard. We're like, oh wow, you get to criticize your government. Well, woohoo! Like for Americans and Canadians and Europeans, maybe that seems like a low standard, but in the Middle East, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, PK is saying, but at least Israel has some sort of a liberal democracy. In India, we're losing that too. Yeah, but Israel has a liberal democracy for Israelis. It doesn't have liberal democracy for all the people that it governs, because Israel also governs Palestinians. So it's governing people that haven't chosen them as a government. So towards Palestinians, they are not a liberal democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Muhammad is like, Armin is just trying to stay an undercover agent of Mossad. Armin is like, Armin makes another pitch to Mossad.
Yes. I'm serious about
work
them.
for Mossad even though you consider Israel an apartheid state.
Oh yeah, because Mossad is above that. I think the main thing. No. Mossad is the force for good. Mossad is part of the good part. Mossad has made the world a better place. Has stopped a lot of harm, right? A lot of the crimes from Israel is the parts of IDF is the problem. Okay, many people in the IDF, and also mainly right-leaning politicians, and also Orthodox Judaism spreading in the school system and in the military and in politics. Those are the problems, right? But Mossad is often beyond the politics. And it also has stopped a lot of people from dying. And also, whatever problem with Mossad, it would just be less if I join it. So it would be an improvement. So I know there's problems there, but I'm there to help.
We're just going to take this clip and include it on your CV as you try to apply once again.
Yes. All right.
Oh my God.
Yes, please. All right. Just do it already. It's been years. Okay.
I'm tired of begging.
Can we clap for the next news?
We don't like this, but we can clap.
Do I have the right news?
Yes. Yes, you do.
I think I'm okay. And next news.
Next news. Dishonest decision. Court rules the Texas courtroom may continue to open with prayers. On September 29th, an appeals court in Louisiana allowed a judge to lead a prayer in his public courtroom, overturning last year's verdict from a district court in Texas. According to the original lawsuit filed in May 2021, attorney John Rowe, which is a pseudonym, contacted the Freedom from Religion Foundation with complaints about the court's behavior. Rowe mentioned that each day started with an overview of the court's chaplaincy program, wherein an assigned chaplain, who was usually Protestant, delivered a prayer of their choosing, which Judge Mack invited everyone to stand up for. In response to a letter from FFRF, Judge Mack installed signs outside and a television in the back of the courtroom notifying that people are not required to be present or participate in the brief opening ceremony that includes an invocation by a volunteer chaplain pledging to the United States and the Texas state flag. On May 29th, 2019, FFRF Roe sued the judge in both his individual and official judiciary capacity on behalf of the state of Texas. However, in this most recent appeal, a 3-judge panel ruled 2-1 to overturn that decision, allowing prayer to continue in the Texas courtroom. So let me I will give the overview. So just go through the timeline of events again. So in Texas, there was this judge, Judge Mack, and he used to have ceremonies where he would open his courtroom every day with prayer, including having a volunteer chaplain come in and give this prayer. And there was an attorney that would work in that courtroom who had a problem with this, and he contacted the Freedom from Religion Foundation. FFRF wrote a letter to Judge Mack basically being like, you're infringing upon these rights. This is a violation of our Constitution. They outlined their case. In response to that letter, Judge Mack decided to make this voluntary participation and saying, okay, we are going to continue to do our prayer ceremonies, but I'll just make them voluntary. So if you don't want to be here while we do our prayer ceremony in our public courtroom, you can just step outside the hall and then wait until we're done and a bailiff will come get you or something. And so basically he continued, and then FFRF and this attorney that first contacted them decided to sue Judge Mack, both within the position of his job and then also just as an individual. And originally, the FFRF won a decision in the former court that they were battling this in, where the court said, no, he's not allowed to do this. This violates these statutes, blah, blah, blah. It went to appeals. An appeals court in Louisiana said that, no, he can continue, that this doesn't violate anything, that it's voluntary, and that it's totally fine to continue. Even though the 3-judge panel was presented with a wealth of information of people who felt that because they voluntarily chose to leave the ceremonies, that the judge would not look favorably upon them, that they believe that their lack of participation in his prayer ceremonies was affecting his behavior towards them, and that he was no longer being impartial because of their unwillingness to participate in his prayer ceremonies. Despite all of this, the 3-judge panel, 2 out of the 3 said that no, that he can continue. They didn't think that was substantial enough evidence, and they overturned the decision that the Freedom from Religion Foundation had previously won.
Wait, can they appeal this? Because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so this was an appeals court in Louisiana. I think they should be able to appeal. I'm no lawyer, but because
this would set a precedent, like like in a classroom, for example, you cannot have a class prayer in school because the students will feel like, if they are not Christian, if they don't participate in the prayer, they feel like they're being called out or feel out of place, right? But if you tell them, like, okay, fine, the students who don't want to pray, just stay outside, that's going to even be worse. They're like, you're basically signaling to them that you're different from every other student that is taking part in the prayer. And this is, as bad as that is in a classroom, this is even worse in a court with really significant consequences. Like, if the judge does not look favorably on me, like this judge is gonna make decisions that is gonna influence my life, and he's gonna notice that I didn't want to come to the prayer. So, like, obviously,
or that if the lawyers don't participate, it could reflect poorly upon that lawyer's client. So they talked about how they felt coerced to continue to participate, even though they don't want to, for the sake of the case that they're representing.
How is this allowed in the U.S.? Like, obviously, the way people are going to behave is going to have an effect on their decisions, like how Christian you are.
Especially because this judge ran on a platform, because it depends on what state you're in and what county and all that stuff, but in some states and counties, judges actually run for elections. And this guy ran on a platform of bringing prayer back into the courtroom.
Wait, actually, I take it back. D is right. D is like, if this goes to the Supreme Court, we're screwed. Yeah, this is not a good time to appeal things. Actually, maybe this is why they're getting a lot bolder on the lower level, because they know that if you appeal it, they might actually get like favorable outcome for the entire goddamn country.
I know, it's so.
This is a bad time to be the Freedom from Religion Foundation, eh?
It's so depressing.
I mean, I don't know. Because
then where are the protective mechanisms? What is our opportunity for redress? If the highest decision maker in the nation is substantially influenced against the standards of secularism that we hold dear and valuable, then what other methods of... I know, but I care about my country, and it matters a lot more, because the precedents of what happens in the United States become the precedents that influence the rest of the world.
You saying your country matters more than my country? How dare you?
Yes, obviously.
Okay, fine. You're right.
You know that when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. Especially when it comes to people who fight for global secularism like we do. The standards that are established in America are what are pointed back to by people in other countries. So if our standards in America are crumbling, and we're trying to go to support our communities in another nation in their fight for the strengthening of secularism in their society, the opposition to that is going to say, well, you hold up all these examples, blah, blah, blah. But look in the US, they actually don't agree with you. Look in the US, they actually, don't think that. It's like how when we talk about free speech and then people bring up the example of, disrespecting the flag in France isn't allowed. The big H denial isn't allowed in France. And so they point out these areas of hypocrisy as reasons why it's totally valid for them to want to ban any blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad, instead of being like, you know what? Actually, when it comes to the disrespect to the flag or the national anthem, or whatever, that isn't consistent. We should work towards changing that to no longer be a standard. Instead, they say, no, this is why we should be allowed to continue or even further our domination. So do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this comment from D is important. D is saying, before he took the bench, Judge Mack was a Pentecostal minister and ran for office on a platform of opening his courtroom with prayers every day and improving access to chaplains in the judicial system. Like, this is so insidious. I don't even... Oh yeah, and D is also highlighting the fact that the people who leave the courtroom have to do so in the full view of the judge. So if they do decide to leave, there's no way that you can do it discreetly and he won't notice. He will be watching you turn around and walk out the entire time. Young Atheist is saying, in Pakistan, government of Pakistan forced students to study and learn the Quran. And in my college, teachers teach us in class about jihad openly. It's like torture for me. The Islamization of education in Pakistan is so severe. And Imran Khan did a lot to bolster that. It makes me so angry just for cheap political points. The Quran is now mandatory for people that aren't even Muslim now, studying it in public schools. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding.
This comment is very good by PK.
PK saying, but Hillary is worse than Trump.
Yeah, or the worst is that, or they're all the same. They're all the same. Look at your...
It's left-leaning people that say that the most, too.
Yeah.
You know who loves it?
The Bernie or Buster people. They did this.
or militant leftists, communists,
Yeah,
socialists.
they did this. They did this to your country. So imagine the fact that the leftist people are responsible for women rights being challenged right now, and the wall of separation between church and state be crumbling. Like, it's so, like, the left, who was supposed to protect these things, are now responsible for actually all of this happening.
Yeah, but we shot ourselves in our own foot because we're too obsessed with ideological and moral purity,
Purity, yeah.
group mentality, that we don't actually care enough about these issues to get organized. We'd rather bicker over who is the perfect ally, blah blah blah. Like, this is one of the reasons why I've been so freaking angry this past week.
Yeah.
When I was saying earlier in the show that I'm getting blackpilled, I can't deal with this. It makes me so mad.
Something I don't remember in response to you saying when Americans sneeze and the world catches a cold. Like, did America sneeze today? Oh, by the way, Rich is first time watching us. Thank you for being here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, hope you enjoy the show. Yeah. All right. Let me actually bring this back up. So, can we clap for the next?
Juicy.
Juicy.
This is juicy. This is very interesting. Okay.
Is
Sure.
it good news? Okay.
We don't like this, but it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Next news.
Data reveals that most Indians do not see liberalism as a virtue. So
What?
This is something that I sent to Armin and you really wanted to cover. Okay. According to a recent book by data journalist Rukmini Srinivasan, India, despite having a secular and pluralistic constitution, is still massively majoritarian in its views. According to the data, quote, age, education, and urbanization and income do not produce the moderating, progressive, liberal effects on views that we in our popular imagination in India assume that they do. Young people do not hold more progressive values than their parents or even their grandparents. In an interview with Betwa Sharma of Consortium News, Rukmini explained that the data shows, quote, the intensity of anti-Muslim sentiments, propaganda, and violence. Since Narendra Modi and the Bharatiya Janata Party came to power in 2014, this intensity has increased. The data showed that the country remains steeped in casteism, where the banned practice of untouchability is still followed, even by people in urban areas. Rukmini further explained that despite women having the liberty to choose who they marry, most Indians firmly believe that women should be subservient to their husbands and should not go out for paid work. So there's actually a lot more to this that I want to get into. Before we fully dive in, I want to say that this is like a full book that this data journalist wrote, and I didn't get the opportunity to read the whole book, right? So I am discussing things that are like, I don't have all the actual numbers readily available. I haven't read the text itself, so this is based off of interviews and stuff that I've read about it. Just
is it reputable source?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't understand. So, is it worse than before? Like, because they're self-reporting, I don't know if that's a very good, reliable way to figure this out. So, are Indians getting more or lesser? Like, I understand that they're saying liberalism is not. They're not a fan of liberalism, but is it getting worse or is it getting better or is it the same?
It depends on the issue at hand. So part of what they talk about is that actually a lot of polling in India is not very comprehensive. And so it doesn't capture a lot of the nuance to why people have the views that they do. And they only come around during election time where they just give a poll. It's like yes, no on one data point. And so you can't really capture dynamic information in the same way that you could with the research that we get out of the Pew Research Center in America, for example. But what they talk about is how there is an assumption by a lot of people that because India has such a young population and it is continuing to urbanize and it is continuing to have higher education, that we would see some of these attitudes change.
Yeah.
And the data is saying that no, that's not true. You could have a graduate or postgraduate education, and data still shows that you are likely to think that cow slaughter should be completely criminalized, or that the rates of like intercaste marriage have basically no changes for the past 3 generations.
Okay, but my understanding, I understand that these are still a problem in India, okay, but how was the before and after analyzed? Okay, because I think I have a problem with the way that the before and after was analyzed. I mean, not that the study had the problem, but the way people are coming up with the conclusion that things are getting worse. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are asking people if they are more, for them to report themselves if they think they're less or more liberal than their grandparents or parents, right?
No, not necessarily. So this book is based off of data and polls, some going back as far as the 1950s, but
okay.
through a variety of questions, a variety of pollsters. Like it's a wealth of different data points. And so like I said, I haven't been able to read the whole book, so I can't tell you exactly how they asked certain questions, how much of it is self-assessment of someone else's conservatism, so on and so forth. I don't know. But because if that was the case, I would agree. But this is across many different data points and different pollsters. I think when the data shows a lack of commitment to free speech and free expression, a lack of commitment to free operation of the judiciary and opposition parties, and a fundamental mistrust of human rights organizations. And the author said these numbers are worrying for people who believe in free speech and free expression. They're also worrying because of the fact that they're also worrying because of the fact that they are comparable, if not lower, for India than some deeply authoritarian countries.
Okay.
There was another point.
Where's the panic? But do you have a panic button here close by, Susie?
Yes, exactly. One thing that was really shocking to me is when they talked about the caste problem. Just a second. Okay, here we go. This is a running theme. Age, education, and levels of urbanization and income do not produce the moderating, progressive, liberal effects on views that we in our population in India assume that they do. From these opinion polls, young people do not hold more progressive values than their parents or even their grandparents. The levels of intercaste marriages in India are entirely unchanged over the last 70 years. The share of intercaste marriages among those in their 20s are no different from people in their 90s. It remains under 5% in India, and a large number of those are within the overall caste grouping rather than a complete caste group crossing. Young people are saying that they do not support intercaste, interreligious marriage to an even greater degree than the views expressed by their grandparents. They're not saying that they have a greater commitment to free speech or secular values than older people. This is something that has gone under the surface a little bit, and it is partly because in most of the world, there has been a drift towards more progressive values among younger and better educated people.
Why?
The author struggles to answer that question. There is not necessarily a clear answer why. Like I said, liberalism is not viewed as a virtue according to this data, and people more prefer to openly identify as traditional.
Can I guess? I'm gonna guess.
Go ahead.
I think it's because of the segregation and the hostility between Muslims and Hindus. Do you think that's a legit guess? I think it's because of the lack of mixing and the demonization and the taking guard and holding on to tradition to maintain your identity against a perceiving enemy.
That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
The data shows that far more Hindus than Muslims would rather not have neighbors from a different faith. But when it comes to interfaith marriages, both religious groups are against it.
Okay, but what about my theory? You don't think that's legit?
I mean, I definitely see how that could be a factor that plays into this. Like, but it's like speculation, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, everywhere else with more education and time, things are becoming more liberal. This is very scary, by the way. We're talking about the second most populated country in the world and the world's largest secular
Electoral
democracy. Yes. So, if things are
And
not
a lot of the
more
data
liberal,
is like they don't value democracy.
yeah, so this is like a major block for the world to move forward. Like, if India doesn't come with us, like, we're missing, like, the world is not going to move forward without India. We need India. We need
Yeah.
India. This is like one of the most. We already kind of have lost China for a while, okay, for the foreseeable future. So
But-
that's the biggest country. What do you mean?
Of course, we
Yes.
lost them.
Yeah.
Did we ever have them?
I know. Like they're like a lost cause for at least the next 50 years, maybe. I don't know. Maybe even 100. So India was a major country that we needed to drag kicking and screaming to the 21st century's standards, but they're slipping right through our fingers. So my hope was that the next generation would be a lot better than this, the current craze is in charge, and you're telling me that it's not.
Yeah,
So that's
so like,
very worrying.
because you often talk about like, oh, I have hope for India, blah blah blah. This new generation is different. They'll come in, they'll change things. I don't think that's necessarily the case at all, based on the data that's available.
Can we get more data on this? Like, I don't believe.
I do want to read this full book, actually, to get a clearer picture of exactly what the breakdown is like. Yeah, the author says, when it comes to marriage, it becomes a particular bridge too far. It is not much of a leap of reasoning because of the highly endogamous nature of marriage in India, which that is a whole fascinating subject on itself. Like how extremely endogamous it is. All sorts of levels of mixing within groups are very low. To me, the hostility is not surprising, but the inability or unwillingness to express these views is particularly surprising. It really makes me feel that a young person in India attempting an intercaste or interfaith marriage or relationship are one of the bravest people in the country. Okay, so here's Armin, maybe this will make you feel better. So then the author is asked, are there any signs of change? And they say, in terms of talking the talk, there is some improvement. The share of people, for example, on matrimonial websites who are open to looking at prospective alliances from those outside of their caste as well. But unless we see an increase in actual marriages, I don't know if we should anticipate that the talk translates to action. These are not simple personal leaps of faith. They come along with real threat of violence and ostracization. If young people decide to move even closer within their groups, you would see why they are doing that, given the hostility they encounter in society.
Any data regarding views on LGBT issues over time?
Actually, they talk about that a lot. So in terms of, they talk about like, what would it take for something like this to shift? And they give the example of homosexuality. So here's a quote from between 1990 and 2014, those who opposed homosexuality fell from 89% to 24%. Yeah, that's a drastic shift from an overwhelming majority to a clear minority. Between 2014 and 2019, the share of Indians who believe homosexuality should be accepted by society more than doubled, you found. What happened? And the author believes this is because of the decriminalization that occurred towards homosexuality in 2018. So basically, she talks about how she thinks perhaps if there are signals by the state or by authoritative bodies towards an attitude, that may help signal and usher in more people having that attitude. Like, oh, okay, well, the court came in and they thought that this should be decriminalized. Like, maybe this is okay after all. That kind of a thing. So, and they talk about, okay, well, what would that mean in terms of the extreme rise of anti-Muslim sentiments we've seen in the country? Like, what form would that take? And they weren't exactly sure how that would look in practice. But she thinks that there needs to be some sort of constitutional authority that comes out with like a clear and resounding support of something. And that what's different though is that there weren't open nightly television shows that were demonizing gay people at the time, right? But now the level of dehumanizing rhetoric towards Muslims is like so normal, it's become like a blood sport on TV, that the effort in terms of changing that might become much more difficult.
That leads more, like, my theory makes more sense. You know, the kind of conservatism that we're saying maintain its power in India are the type that you see that aligns itself against a foreign threat, like Islam, for example. For example, in Europe or the United States, when it comes to immigration, that motivates a lot of people to hold on to conservatism. Even a lot of atheists who used to be liberal became supportive of Christian values because of the threat of Islam, right? Because they're like, oh, this thing, we don't like this. So they hold on to Christian conservative values as a defense mechanism. So you can see a lot of Indians who fear a takeover by Islam of India, like paranoid about that. Even the ones a lot of them who are interested in liberal values might think like, liberal values cannot stand against Islam. Some of them who are even atheists endorse traditional Hindu values because they think that's the only thing in India that could stand up against Islam. So I think like maybe some of these conservative values, some of them consciously, but a lot of it not so consciously, are it's a defense mechanism. Conservatism is a defense mechanism when people are afraid of an outside threat. When people are afraid.
There are literally studies on this. People who lean towards conservatism are more likely to have fear and disgust responses.
Yeah, actually, we have literally a person that is like that in the live chat right now. Look, he's saying that. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, Hinduism and Christianity are way better than Islam. See, they defend other conservatives.
But we wouldn't disagree with that statement.
No, I would disagree because what they actually Islam is the worst. But what they mean is that they are a good defense mechanism, even though Islam even though Islam is worse, is the worst religion. Hinduism and Christianity are not a good defense mechanism. People think like liberalism is too weak against Islam, but it's not. And Christianity and Hinduism are actually stronger forces against Islam, but they're wrong. Liberalism is the most powerful force against all of this religious mumbo jumbo. Liberalism is a very powerful ideology. The reason why some of these people don't get that is because they think they associate, wokeism or communism with liberalism. They think that those are too weak or insane to be able to have a chance.
But those are post-liberal.
Yeah, liberalism is actually a very, very powerful ideology. And it's not wokeism. It's not communism. It's none of that thing. And if you actually completely endorse, accept liberalism in your country, it in less than 150 years, it has taken over most of the powerful countries in the world. It has dominated the planet. The whole world order is now controlled by liberal values. It's under liberal values. I mean, Islam as a Islam, the way like people are like, oh, Islam took over the world. Nothing took over. No ideology has taken over the world as fast as liberalism has, and so dominantly as well. It is a very powerful force. If you use it against Islam, it actually will. So it will crush it. It will crush it much better than Christianity and Hinduism would ever. In fact, if you use Hinduism and Christianity against Islam, eventually they will join forces. Okay, they will join forces. They will join forces over, and they will join together in conservative values to crush liberalism. You will never get liberalism if you try to grow Hinduism and Christianity to defeat Islam. Yeah. You want to crush Islam? Use liberalism.
Be a lib, okay?
Be a lib.
What we have here are two flaming libs, okay? And I refuse to apologize for it.
True.
Just an average liberalism enjoyer.
Oh, one more thing. Persian Wojciech is saying, all that you said won't matter if liberals stop having kids and be replaced with Muslims who have 10 plus kids. We don't need to have our own kids.
Okay, but we're coming after more kids.
I know, but we're coming after your kids.
We should actually be having more kids.
Let me make my point, Susanna. Let me make my point. Okay, you twice I tried to say this, and twice you didn't let me finish my point. Okay, we're coming after your kids because we are very successful at that. Okay, like Muslims, you're having more babies, but we're taking your babies. We're making them libs and atheists much more effectively than you're making our kids Muslims or Christians.
But they can still outpace us in terms of birth rates.
Not if we pop that bubble. Not if they are not successful in keeping their kids in isolation.
I was talking to Voodoo Vids about this, and honestly, he swayed me. I think I see your point. I see what you mean, and also like, yes, we can still have that. I still think we should be having more kids.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate what anything I'm saying.
No, okay? It doesn't.
Okay.
I think we'd be more effective if we were also having more kids. Like, what doesn't have to be one tactic.
True, but the main game is the conversion game or the deconversion game. Mm-hmm. Okay, you could play the baby making machine game, but I think like the main winner, the winning card is the who has the better ideas card. That's the okay. We
need both.
Yeah. Something I don't remember is celebrate.
Jack is saying based woman. Part of the problem is that as I get older, I get more trad wifey. And I'm like, wait a second. I look in the mirror, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I'm really into fatherhood. Like,
something I don't remember.
Fathers in this world.
Something I don't remember is celebrating her 6-month membership by calling the two of us bullshitters. Well, thank you so much for your 6-month membership.
I love it.
Something I don't remember.
I love it.
All right. She always confuses me. So something I don't remember always confuses me in their comments.
It's a roller coaster. You're like, I think this person is trolling us, but then they also seem to be a big fan. I really can't tell what the hell.
Yeah, she goes from being a fan to hating us between every 2 comments. is confusing. PK is also celebrating his 6-month membership with a lot of emojis that are for members only. Something I remember is like confusing us again by calling us maniacs while being a member. Thank you.
We are maniacs, actually, though.
Thank you for your membership. Oh, more people are celebrating their membership.
Armin is over here being a libertine, licentious, hedonistic person, and I'm in the corner like, we need better fathers, we need more marriage.
Oh, Persian Wojciech is saying, you're my second favorite internet trad wife now after Abby Shapiro. Well,
I'm a really bad trad wife, though. I'm not that good. I'm not very good.
Congratulations. Are you happy now, Susanna? Are you happy? Look what you're becoming.
I am, though. I'm like,
Oh, no.
I feel so happy when I'm like, oh, my partner woke up from a nap. Let me make sure he has tea. I want to cook him something. Like, I like that. I actually do. But here's the difference. I don't think that should just automatically be it for everyone. You know what I mean?
People are asking you, what's a trad wife?
It's like a slang word for just a traditional model of womanhood and femininity. Yeah, and
Yes.
I was honestly just using it as a joke because I'm actually not good at being a trad wife.
You spoil your partner. People are celebrating. A lot of people are celebrating their memberships. Thank you, guys. Secular Sekai by
so
Women
cool.
Life Freedom. Sina is saying, my son is a cat. Does that count? Yep, that counts. My daughter are 2 puppies. No, used to be 3. Anyways, let's move on. Can we clap for the next news?
Oh my God, no, this is horrible. I'm sorry.
Damn. You promised us. What are you doing to us? Okay, next news.
Next news. Muslim mob attempts to kill Christian for merely sharing a blasphemous text. This is freaking crazy. In May, Rhonda Yau Jatau, a Nigerian Christian health worker, received a WhatsApp message denouncing the horrible murder of a university student, Deborah Emmanuel Yakubu, who was lynched and burned after being accused of blasphemy against Islam. After learning about the tragic death of Deborah, Rhonda shared the message with her colleagues through WhatsApp to raise awareness. However, the Muslims interpreted this message as an act of blasphemy and went out on a hunt to kill her. When Muslim mobs surrounded and attacked her house, the Nigerian secret police from the Department of State Services arrested her and whisked her away. Jatau's lawyer, Joshua Nasara, said that since the arrest, Mrs. Jatau has been confined in prison over false allegations of blasphemy and charged with, quote, inciting public disturbance, exciting contempt of religious creed, and cyberstalking. The charges state that Jatau disrespected many religious figures of Islam and the entire Muslim community in a WhatsApp group with the, quote, intent to cause a religious crisis. She has been held incommunicado for more than 4 months since her arrest on Friday, May 20th, with numerous illegal and intentional delays in her court proceedings. So, let's just think about this for a second. According to the reports that I have read, her message, her crime is sharing a message that's saying, hey, lynching a woman for blasphemy is bad. Condemning the death of a woman who was stoned to death and set on fire for alleged blasphemy. There are people that say that with Deborah, the first woman, what happened to her was that she rejected a Muslim dude, and in response, he accused her of blasphemy. That's an allegation I've read. Okay. And then that's why they stoned her and then burnt her. They tried to burn down the school that she was in on her university campus. Okay, so that's what happened to Deborah. So this woman, Rhonda, receives a message from someone about that, saying that this is wrong, condemning it. She allegedly shared this message to raise awareness with her colleagues. In response to saying, hey guys, lynching a woman for blasphemy is bad, the response is to go and try and lynch her.
Well, I don't understand. Is that really the only thing in the message? How is that blasphemy? That's not even...
I don't know. I haven't been able to find a copy of the message, right? I'm only reading secondary or whatever reports that this is the contents of the message. I can't know for certain, right? Just like full transparency. But let's say the actual message was going full blown calling out Muhammad, full fuck Islam, like he's, what did he do to Aisha? Like, all the stuff that people don't want to admit that is actually in Islam, but it is. When people say it, suddenly that's blasphemous. But a Salafi scholar can say it. That's not blasphemous. Anyways, like, let's say she actually did go full tilt, most hardcore blasphemous you can go. Regardless, that doesn't justify anything that happened to her.
I know, but like I'm still shocked that the message was like, "Yo, they lynched this woman. That's bad," and they were like, "Blasphemy." The message must have been like something else about the like, oh, Islam is bad because it endorses this or something like that. It couldn't have just been. I mean, they wouldn't. Even Muslims wouldn't call that blasphemy.
It's really hard to tell because most of the places that are reporting on what happened to Rhonda are like Christian news services. And so I get a very specific kind of information, if that makes sense. I haven't been able to find any sort of account of literally what was said, what was shared. And because of this mere accusation against her, when people went to go lynch her, she was the one that got arrested.
Oh, yeah. The government.
And she's been detained illegally for 4 months now.
Yeah, so there's people who want to lynch her, and the government shows up, the police show up, and between the people who want to lynch a lady and the lady who's been accused of blasphemy, they arrest the lady, and she's in jail. Like, not the people who wanted to lynch her.
Yeah.
She's in jail. Mm-hmm. In Nigeria, who's not even an Islamic country. It's half Islamic. This is what you get in a half Islamic country. It's half Christian. Like, what about the other half? The other half that's Christian is not going to come like, hey, this is our, like, what? Like, how come they're not
According to one report I was reading today, Nigeria is the #1 country for killings of Christians.
Yeah, I mean, is the other half that is Christian just going to take this? Like, what is happening there? Like, do they have no authority in the government?
Well, remember, we talked about yesterday how even in the areas, the southern states that are more Christian dominated, even they experience high rates of Christians and pastors being kidnapped and murdered for the sake of bolstering the kidnapping economy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Nigeria is like, I was very hopeful about Nigeria. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah.
Nigeria was.
Oh, like, D is bringing up a good point. D, who I consider our third co-host, just off camera, she is saying, well, remember, there were riots condemning the arrest of Deborah's murderers. So in response to the original woman who was lynched on her college campus, allegedly for blasphemy, instead of, hey, riots and protests against how could you do that to this woman, there were riots when they arrested the people that lynched her.
Amazing.
This is like Pakistan level.
Yeah. And it's not even fully Islamic. It's half Islamic, and Islamic Sharia is taking over.
Well, I mean, it's complicated by the fact that it's actually legitimized in the court system.
Yeah. But is the court system not going to defend a Christian woman? Like, do the Christians not care there? Like, I don't know.
I mean, the Christians definitely care, but there have been all these roadblocks within her case. Like, wait, let me pull it up so I can remind myself. Basically, so you're not allowed to be held for longer than 2 months or something without wait. Okay. Her lawyer says that she was detained for 2 weeks before the charges were placed. After that, she was held incommunicado in prison as Muslim leaders and higher state authorities intentionally postponed her trial. She was detained for a further 2 months without trial, which is the legal limit, and then an application for her release was filed. However, the application for release was not assigned to any judge until the end of that month because the judges were on vacation. And then finally, she got assigned to a judge that was not on vacation. And that's when her court cases finally started to proceed a little bit.
Guys, do you know of any other atheist channel that is covering stuff like this? Like this is important. This is why you subscribe here, okay? Like this is important. I don't know why like other secular or atheist activist people do not cover stuff like this. We're talking about tensions in Nigeria. It's one of the most populated countries on the planet, okay? And there's tensions between Christians and Muslims are increasing, and it's really horrible for the whole world. Nigeria is supposed to be a leading country that picks up Africa's economy for the next couple of decades, okay?
True.
And their whole entire judicial system is wacko because of religious mumbo jumbo, right? Like it's like you can't have stability enough for a country to grow economically as much as its true potential will allow if this is what you're dealing with. And again, it's not people like, oh, your people's lives are being lost and you're talking about economy. Slower economy costs lives, okay?
Exactly. That's one and the same.
Yeah, they're the same thing, okay? It's not just about the money. Lifting people out of poverty literally saves their lives, okay? So this stuff is important.
Oh, and he's bringing up something important because we just talked about this recently. And we talked about this on the show a few weeks ago. In August, a Nigerian court of appeals ruled that the Sharia does not violate the country's constitution.
Yeah, I remember.
Even though they have a nominally secular constitution. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and people recognize that a lot of these blasphemy cases are just instances of blackmail or people just settling scores. Like, this is known. I don't know. It makes me so frustrated. Oh, for more clarification on what she said. Okay. Quote, information we obtained from Mrs. Janatu shows that the WhatsApp message she received and shared in her group was for caution against violence and against the use of derogatory language in addressing other people's faith, but that was not the interpretation by the Muslims, Pastor Dano said. And since the occurrence of the incident of May of 2022, there have been campaigns by Muslims for Miss Janatu to be killed for blasphemy against Muhammad. I don't know what any of that has to do with Muhammad.
We just got $100 super chat by Secular Sakai.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Secular Sakai. Wow.
Read that.
Oh, he's saying, life gets busy for me, but I will always support Atheist Republic's work. Keep the world honest. Keep the world informed. Oh my God.
That is very generous. Thank you. Thank you. He's saying, wow, Secular Sakai. That's it. That's very generous. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. In fact, I think we should put that super chat towards something that we are going to be talking about today.
I know, right? That's a good idea.
Yes. Okay. So,
we're going to talk about that in the last news.
So, yes, in a few stories, we will reveal it. But we have an amazing project that we just started. So let's move to the next news.
Oh, wait.
This is good news. We can clap.
Good news. Finally. Great. Oh, yeah. Grape.
Amazing grape.
Wait, we should. Well, hold on. We should
get a soundboard for our show so we can play audio effects.
Wait,
amazing
we should have.
Grape.
I think we should just have that. Yeah.
I'm going to become an army pilot so that I can. I forget how he says it. And destroy India. That's such a crazy video.
We should just have this news.
Wow, great.
Every time we have a good news, we should just have this ready.
If people don't know what we're talking about, I don't even know what to tell them to search to find the video.
Just tell them, wow, great. Just tell them that. Let them
or Google like Pakistani graduation. Wow, grape.
All right. Next news.
Next news, Cuba legalizes same-sex marriage. I always like to talk about when we have more legalization in the world. Okay. On September 27th was a very joyous day for many Cuban citizens as the country made official changes to its family code laws. In a progressive move by the Cuban government, gay marriage is now accepted by the law. On September 25th, in a referendum, the Cuban citizens voted for a brighter and safer future for the country as they stood for the rights of same sex couples. More than 3.9 million, which is 2/3 of all voters, opted for ratifying the updates to the National Family Code. The 100-page Family Code also boosts the women's rights by defining the equal share of domestic rights and responsibilities between men and women. President of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, tweeted, quote, "It is paying off the debt with several generations of Cuban men and women whose family projects have been waiting for this law for years." Although the turnout was a huge win, it was modest by Cuban standards. In most previous referendums, the changes were accepted with almost unanimous approval, whereas this was 2/3 approval.
This is very surprising. Commies being LGBT friendly. It usually doesn't work like that, right?
Oh, and Cuba has a notorious history of that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
makes me so frustrated when I see people at like pride parades in San Francisco walking around with Castro t-shirts, Fidel Castro t-shirts.
Okay.
I see that all the time. I'm not even kidding. Like selling those t-shirts on the sidewalk at Pride. I'm like, what the hell is happening here?
That guy was homophobic, right?
He would put gay men in concentration camps, like labor camps.
So why would they sell?
There would be a sign over the top that said, like, "Work will make you a man," essentially.
Mm-hmm. All right. So wait, are Cubans even commies anymore? Like the people?
I don't know.
I mean, I would say they're not. If they're LGBT friendly, I think that thing has died a while ago.
I don't know. It's really. I actually don't have a good sense of that at all because I'm familiar with Cuban Americans. And Cuban Americans are the most anti-communist people you will ever meet.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Cuban Americans are
more
hardcore.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yes.
Yeah.
Even more aggressively than me. They're anti-com. They're like very
by
aggressive.
A long mile. It's not even a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But
this is very nice. They wouldn't like this news because the Cuban Americans portray everything in Cuba as horrible, right? So I don't know how they would treat this news. They probably don't like this news. Cuban Americans. I'm guessing Cuban Americans, they're like trying to downplay. I have no idea if this is true. This is just a guess. But this is the welcoming news coming out of Cuba, like legitimizing the regime or stuff. I would say that they wouldn't like that.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, this is my experience, and again, this is anecdotal. Full disclaimer: this is anecdotal. This is my observation: is that many Cuban Americans are generally very conservative, or more conservative leaning in general. So I don't know how much this would.
Communism does that to you.
Yeah, no, so I don't even know if this would be a reflection of their values in that way, Yeah. For them to try to downplay it. I mean, I don't even know how much they like want LGBT stuff, But I could be completely wrong.
We got donation from South Africa, and it's kind of funny.
Thank you for the super chat. Gregory is saying tissues for Susie. Much love from South Africa.
This is
God damn. I think
being called out.
I have cried basically every week for the past 5 weeks on the show. So you know what? It's warranted.
I don't know how much 14. What is that currency? South African money.
From South Africa. I don't know what you call that. A czar? I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be enough tissues. You need more. Send us more aid. Atheist Republic needs more tissue fund. A tissue fund versus that.
That's funny.
Secular Sakai is saying, "Oh, yeah, go on."
Oh no, I was just going to make fun of myself.
You do it.
Oh,
like
I don't
that.
know what it is. I just have like too big of a heart, so
Yes.
I cry too easily because I care too much. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Wait, what was the comment you wanted to highlight?
This one. I don't know.
Secular Sakai says Cuba has been through a lot. Facts. May things get better for everyone in the regime, and this is a good step.
Yes. I mean, Cuba seems to be not needing a regime change. They seem to be reforming slowly. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know much about Cuba.
I'm really not knowledgeable, so I can't say.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're overwhelmingly approving gay marriage, that's a major good sign that this regime is going in the right way. So I don't know. If this is anything to judge it by, Shreyesh is saying Cubans have lived poor lives under communism for generations now, so it's reasonable to expect they're anti-communist now. I think you mean, yeah. Also, they have Airbnb there now. I don't think they're that big of.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Airbnb is making a killing in Cuba, so Airbnb is not very commie. So if you
definitely
have
not. That's wild.
So what is this? What does this mean?
I don't know.
Oh, I think they're just trying to confuse us again. Okay. All right. Okay, can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, this was very interesting to me.
All right.
Next news. The Satanic Temple battles Idaho's abortion ban. On September 30th, the Satanic Temple, known as the TST, filed a lawsuit against the current abortion laws in the state of Idaho. The lawsuit claims the laws violate religious freedom, property rights, and involuntary servitude. The case is against the state's trigger law, which bans almost every type of abortion. The Satanic Temple stated that under the abortion law, an involuntarily pregnant woman would be forced to provide a fetus with hormones, nutrients, oxygen, body heat, and antibodies, protecting the unborn child from external dangers. This amounts to involuntary servitude. I lost my place. Violating the 13th Amendment. Furthermore, the TST stated that the state discriminates against many pregnant women by only permitting abortion for those who were RAPE'd or who were in an incestuous relationship, but not for an accidental pregnancy, hence violating the Equal Protection Clause. And finally, the TST claimed that their religious freedom had been violated due to these laws by forbidding the members of the temple from engaging in the satanic abortion ritual. In this ritual, a pregnant person is reminded that their body is theirs and not subject to violation by others. So I thought this was really cool. Well, one, because the Satanic Temple is just cool. But they make a bunch of really interesting legal arguments that I never would have considered. First, well, Armin, what's your initial reaction?
What is it with property rights? How does that make sense?
Okay, so let me find okay. Wait, I need to find exactly where we talk about this. Okay, so here we go. The lawyers on the temple's behalf assert that the uterus of an involuntarily pregnant woman should be treated as a physical thing where property rights can be applied since eggs can be either retained or removed. The uterus itself can be removed if needed. The lawsuit challenges that these property rights cannot be violated without proper compensation according to the 5th and 14th Amendments. The temple also claims that under the abortion law, an involuntarily pregnant woman would be forced to provide a fetus with all the things, required to create life, asserting that this amounts to involuntary servitude, violating the 13th Amendment. The Idaho abortion ban provide no compensation or consideration to involuntarily pregnant women for providing the services necessary to sustain the life of a protected unborn child that occurs and occupies and uses her fetus, the complaint reads. The pregnant people are put into the condition of involuntary servitude in violation of the 13th Amendment.
Do you think this will have any chance? It's a weird way to go about defending.
So there was one
abortion.
lawyer who said that their reading of the 13th Amendment in terms of involuntary servitude, based on his reading, is not very strong because, like, going to jury duty, for example, which is a civic duty of all U.S. citizens, that is not considered involuntary servitude, right? So based on other precedents of what is and is not considered involuntary servitude, like, that argument itself might not have much of a shot. But there are other aspects of this that may be much more solid. Primarily, the clause and claims regarding violations of religious freedom. Because there are lots of standards for religious freedom where that's like what is and is not a religious practice is not necessarily established by the court on the basis of what is in the scripture. It's on the basis of a sincerely held belief.
So what religious freedom would you be violating?
The Satanic Temple has specific rituals regarding abortions, and it's violating their tenets regarding having freedom over one's own body, bodily autonomy, basically.
So, if this works, any woman who wants an abortion in the United States, in the states that doesn't allow it, has to join the Satanic Temple?
Yeah.
That's a major drive for membership, eh?
Yeah.
Like
they have like 1.5 million members around the world, apparently.
It will be significantly higher if that's the way you could get abortions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeez.
They have. I've looked into their abortion ritual before. It's been a long time, so I can't remember all the details, but it's pretty interesting. You like have to go do a prayer, or you like think about your own freedom and your own autonomy, and then you get a blessing or something from another person in the temple, and they maybe say an oath with you, and then you go pursue the procedure, and then there's something you can do afterwards. I could be misremembering, but it's like a whole thing. And people are like, people probably think that it means like, oh my God, the abortion ritual. I'm going to go like cut myself and then eat a baby. I'm going to eat this fetus, blah, blah, blah. And it's really none of that. It's like based on what I remember, it's like reading some words and someone giving you a blessing.
I mean, I would support it if it was that. But wait, your arm. It would be very ironic. It would be very ironic if the Satanic Temple grows in size, in membership massively because of Christians.
That would be pretty but also very predictable.
Yeah, it would be actually. So not only you didn't get rid of abortion, you have caused so many people. You have made Satanism a major religion in the United States. You played yourself, Christians. Congratulations. Satan is in charge right now, thanks to you. Are you happy? That would be amazing. I would love to see that. Why is Susie Armin? Because this software is weird. You have to keep changing the picture in the background. Susie, come back. I don't have anything more to say. I don't know what to do. Okay, guys.
Okay. So, no, one thing I find really interesting is that, well, one, the Satanic Temple has other lawsuits in other states, basically along similar lines in terms of arguing for religious freedom. I don't know how many other of their lawsuits also contain these arguments regarding involuntary servitude and property rights. But when it comes to this religious freedom argument, there's now a Jewish group in Florida. So there's a Jewish group basically suing against Florida's 15-week abortion ban on the basis of religious freedom. So now there are Jewish groups who have gone in on this using this same angle, because they're like, actually, like, you are imposing Christian standards of when life begins and when life begins upon us. According to our faith and our practice, it's not at conception. Same thing with Muslims, actually. Most readings of Islamic faith are actually more pro-abortion than Catholicism, because the process of ensoulment doesn't happen until, I think, 40 weeks. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think about Jews and Muslims challenging this law. Yeah, and also D has a very good point here.
Why should other religions win religious freedom lawsuits, but not the Satanic Temple? Good point. Because of discrimination?
Well, we wish the Satanic Temple all the luck.
Yes. And if people are able to, I would suggest supporting their work if possible, because they do really cool things.
Yeah.
What is Atheist Republic's standpoint regarding the Satanic Temple? They're freaking awesome.
We support them, yes.
They're one of the best organizations fighting for the preservation of secularism in America.
Yeah.
And
also, it helps that they don't actually believe in Satan.
Yeah, that's a big help.
That's a big help. They're just poetic atheists.
Yeah.
But don't tell the Christians that, because then it will not fly as a religion.
Shh.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think you need to necessarily believe in Satan to be a religion. So even if that was, nobody could argue that, as long as they have deeply held beliefs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So even though Satan is symbolic to them, legally they could still be a religion. All exactly. Right. This next news is very exciting. Hold on,
yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised how much support it's getting. All right, so I'm assuming we can clap. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Next news.
Help Atheist Republic create a Mahsa Amini mural in Vienna. So this is really cool. Atheist Republic is officially sponsoring the creation of a mural commemorating the life of Mahsa Amini and the uprising that was sparked in protest of her brutalization and the ongoing humiliation of Iranian women and the Iranian people in general. And this, I'm so excited about this. So this is created by and supported by Babak, who is the leader of Atheist Republic's Persian community. And within the span of less than a week, he has organized creating this mural for Mahsa. And I think this is a really cool idea because the Iranian community is super active here. And I think public art is such an important way to communicate ideas to the public. When you are creating a public space to communicate an idea, and the act of creating it is also a fantastic way to build community in and of itself. And so this is a project that we've launched. I'm super excited about it. In the photo that I put on the fundraiser, you can kind of see a little bit of a sketch of, this is a very rough original sketch of what it's going to look like. But I actually have some updates. So, the local community basically went ahead and already bought all the materials, but they spend so much time and effort and resources on stuff like this. I want to help alleviate the burden from all the money they're putting into raising awareness about this cause, and basically us sponsoring it will be in the form of compensating them for all the money they spent on materials and food for volunteers and stuff like that. So this mural is actually underway right now as we speak. And I can show you some photos if you would like. Okay.
Yeah, yes, please. Wait, before you show the photos, I can't believe you put the fundraising for this just yesterday. It's been like 24 hours. And
No,
it's
less
already
than that. It
halfway.
was last night.
Last night, look, it's 12 hours. And it's like it was 600 Canadian dollars. And it's already almost 40% there. So it's almost halfway there already in 12
Yeah,
hours.
I'm
That's
so
pretty
excited.
great. That's amazing.
Oh, this is such a sweet comment. Young Atheist said, "You are both amazing and incredible people. I chat with Babak and his work is incredible." Oh, I'll tell him that. He'll be so happy. He'll be really happy to hear that.
And Secular Sakai is saying, I will donate, even though he already donated $100 today to us.
Oh my God. Wait, let me actually, that's a good prompt for me to put the link in the chat. It's also in the description of this video.
Okay.
You did?
Yes. You want me to do it again?
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. I didn't notice. Okay, wait. Let me pull up some photos. And this, after I'm done with the show, I'm literally going to go oops, come on. Can I share this without exposing all my important details is the question.
You want to send it to me instead? I'm not sure.
Well, no, it's on WhatsApp. So let me see.
Be careful. Don't.
Yeah, exactly. Can I do this? Wait, sorry, guys.
Send it to me. I will download it and share it on my screen.
No, I think this should be fine.
John is saying, Armin and Susanna, you both kick. Oh, we don't kick Thea's butt. We kick theism's butt, but we like Thea's butt. Some of them have nice butt.
And we do like butt. Okay, let me see. If I click on this, Armin, in the preview of the share screen, what do you see? Do you see the image or do you see everything?
I see everything. Do not share that.
Shit.
Just download the image. Oh, there we go. You covered the stuff now.
No, this is not good. I'm sorry, guys. I had this organized, but he sent me a lot of images as we were working.
Just show us one of it. Download one of it and show it to us. Oh, they're so good. I want to see them.
I know. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, we got another donation. Oh my God. How much is 400 rupees? We got 400 rupees for the mural.
Wow. Okay, I'll make sure to compensate that and put that towards the
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Wow, we're getting a little support.
Put that towards the fundraiser.
Okay, while you get the image, I'm gonna read what you have as a description. Okay, so Masa mini mural in Vienna. Help us meet our goal. Atheist Republic is sponsoring the local Viennese community's effort to create a mural commemorating Mahsa Amini, the 22-year-old woman who was killed while in custody for improper hijab, and the freedom-seeking uprising that her death sparked. To cover the initial cost of the materials and food for volunteers, we've set up this campaign with a goal of 500 euros. Any additional funds will go towards continuing the mural project throughout different areas of Vienna. With your help, Atheist Republic can reach this goal and continue the work we've set out to do in this campaign. Please help if you can. Okay, do you have something? Can I share your screen?
Yes, I do. Okay. Now I am ready. Okay. Un momento. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So, okay, here we go. First, this is like a sketch, and this was the original sketch. But then as we go through it, you'll see how it actually comes together. So here you can see Masa and Nika, and this is Hadith. And of course, we have Azadi Square and Iran, a dove, protesting people, Girls of Revolution.
Is that the Sassanate flag? I don't know. Okay.
Low key it is.
Damn.
I don't know if they actually include that in the final. This is one of the first sketches. Okay. So then here is actually the space where it will be. This is beforehand. This is where they're picking out where it's going to be. And now we can see what they've actually been working on. So boom. Look at this.
It's happening. Okay.
Yes. Happening. So what's different about this sketch is that Masa's hair is actually like what joins all of these elements together. So it's Masa's hair that comes out and joins all of these elements. And so you can kind of see that starting to take shape here. And then we have like these pillars that they're painting, the woman and the dove. And then in German, it says Frau Leben Freiheit, so woman, life, freedom. Yeah, I like this one. It's the hair being raised up as a fist. You can see more of the actual outline of the country coming in into the background. Yeah, here's another photo. And wait, do I have any more? Or was that it? 1 second. Yeah, those are the most updated photos I have right now.
Adam is saying, what's the hashtag for? The hashtag is Mahsa Amini. So Mahsa Amini is the lady who died, who sparked all these protests. Oh yeah, here's the hashtag Mahsa Amini. Yeah, there's a hashtag in the sketch. Would that be on the final?
Yeah, it should be, because I mean, especially when you're doing public art and you're trying to communicate an idea, you have to communicate how people can find more information about it, right? Or what hashtags to use, how to support. So obviously using the most trending hashtag is the best way to do that. But I am super excited. I am really proud of our community. Babak put in so much work to get this done so fast, and all the support from everyone in his community to make this happen. And so I'm really looking forward to coming to you guys with more videos and updates about how it actually turned out. And if we exceed our fundraising goal, the people who put this on actually want to continue it. So they want to make the original mural bigger. They want to put resin on it to help preserve it. And they also want to continue to do this in other parts of the city so that the message can be expanded. So if you're able, please consider donating. I think it means a lot to the people here to see people around the world coming together and showing support for their values, their mission, and their fight for freedom.
Yes. And okay, I want to say another thank you to Wishwa as well and Secular Sakai. Wishwa, because some people are saying maybe that's not a lot of money, but it is, because Shreyash is saying, for everyone saying that 400 isn't much, to is 3% of Indian earners, you have to earn like, okay, so basically the message is that this is significant. Coming from India, like it's a significant amount. Like, yeah, and honestly, even if it wasn't, it just gathers
it's appreciated
up,
regardless.
Yeah, it's just like small donations, like get added together. Like sometimes I'm shocked, like small donations coming in, and then just after a few days, we're like, whoa, how did that all add up to so much? So it has a major impact. You guys don't have to worry about the size of the donations, even if it's like very little. It really, really helps.
Oh, of course.
No man is saying
Numan is saying pronounce my name as Numan from now. Okay.
Thank you, but 40
Sir,
rupees.
Sir, I apologize, sir. No man, no more. Now it is Numan, okay?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the super chat as well. Anyways, guys, we gotta get going. And you said you're gonna go where right after the show? I'm gonna
go paint that mural.
You're gonna go paint that. Can you take pictures and show it to us next week?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, guys, next week, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you come here for our next stream, same time next week, because we will have pictures of Susie painting. Yeah, so that would be exciting. At the end of the news, we'll watch that. That will be the Atheist Republic related news for next week.
Yeah.
And we'll show
No, Armin, we have a different very big news that got bumped.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you're right. But we have to also cover that. So we have a lot of Atheist Republic related news.
We're doing big things. Like, I'm so proud of our team right now. Oh my God.
Shreyash is saying I got intimidated by numbers. No, I did not get intimidated by numbers. I got intimidated by the bad grammar. Okay, the sentence structure. Like, look, for everyone saying that 400 isn't it, 400 rupees isn't much to be. Like, okay, so it's not the math. Is
Armin?
the sentence structure? I got triggered. Okay. Okay, I have a minor in math, so don't.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
I'm in the corner eating my cookie. I'm like, the drama. Oh, he's going in.
Shreya's triggered me. What can I say? Okay. All right, guys. Like, subscribe.
It's all love.
Leave a comment. It's all love. Okay. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell notification, tell your friends. Word of mouth sometimes helps. Share the video on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your LinkedIn, on your whatever. Tell people about us on your Instagram. Take little clips of the parts of the video you like and put it on YouTube Shorts or Instagram. Tell people that this is Atheist Republic. You definitely need to go check it. So yeah, please help us with the marketing to grow this channel a little bit. We very much appreciate it. You don't need to just support us financially. People who don't want to support us financially, your likes and subscribes and shares and word of mouth, that's like a lot of support and it really helps.
Oh my god, yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Oh, love from Malaysia. Hi, Malaysia. Kadesi from Malaysia. All right, guys. Love you all. Well, not all, but some of you. Love you. Like the rest of you. But yeah. All right. Bye. Mwah.
Okay, bye.
Great.
God damn.
Wait.